Hey everyone, welcome to the VGA Podcast. This is episode 27, and it's Caleb and Alex back with you again. Welcome, Alex. How you doing?
Pretty good. How are you doing?
Doing pretty good. I'm excited to talk about all the stuff we watched this week, because we got a lot.
Yes, we do. I'm excited too.
So,
especially about Halo. I'm very curious about your thoughts on Halo.
Yeah. I'm excited to talk about Shogun the most, I think. I don't know, actually. Masters of the Air too. But yeah, we'll get into it.
I'm upset for all of them.
Yeah. So this week we started watching Shogun. There are 4 episodes out, so we'll talk about the first 4 episodes, and then going on through the weeks, we'll talk about each episode individually after that. And I think this one surprised both of us, that Invincible started their second half of season 2 with episode 5. Mm-hmm. I was not thinking about that show, and then oh, there's an episode out.
Yeah, just randomly, like I totally forgot about it too.
Yeah,
pleasantly surprised.
Yeah. And then after that, we're going to be talking about the finale of Masters of the Air, episode 9, and also Halo season 2, episode 7, the episode before the finale.
What was it called? Onyx? Is that what it's called?
This one was Thermopylae, I believe.
Oh, Thermopylae. Yep,
yeah.
That was, okay.
Even though Thermopylae was not, well, we'll get into it. So let's go ahead and start off our show talking about Shogun. So we'll give our scores and our overall thoughts on the first 4 episodes, and then we'll give a spoiler warning before we go into any spoilers for anyone who hasn't seen it. I'll go ahead and give my score just overall for the first 4 episodes and my thoughts first, and then I'll kick it over to you. So for Shogun, the first 4 episodes, I am absolutely loving this show. I think so far I would give it like a 9 out of 10. It's been really interesting. I love the time period, and I'm not that familiar with the time period, especially in Japan at that time. Yeah, so it's really cool seeing all the, the political intricacies between the English, the Portuguese, the Japanese. I cannot wait to watch more of it. I got through the first 4 episodes and I kept being like, oh, I want to watch more. So,
same.
So I've been really enjoying it. And then I think that's about all I'll say before we get into spoilers. So you can go ahead and give your score now.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I'll give it a 9 out of 10. I'm really, really enjoying it. I don't know much about the time period either. So, like, for me, a lot of it is, like, unknown. Like, I'm sure they're obviously following history. Maybe, are some of these characters, like, based off of true?
I think they might be, and I know that there is a book written by James Clavell that I kind of want to check out, but I don't know for sure how historically accurate it is.
Yeah, either or. Like it's super interesting.
Yeah.
I'm totally into the whole samurai, the swords, and even it has a little bit of the sea, like ships and which you never watch a show, but Black Sails, have you heard of that?
Yeah, I have. Mm-hmm.
That's a great show if you ever need something to watch. Nice. But it kind of has that ship, he's like a seaman, the barbarian.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I'm really liking it. 9 out of 10. Specifically episode 3 and 4, and especially episode 4 I absolutely loved. Yeah. Like I felt like it just got better and better and better each episode.
I agree, yeah.
But yeah, that's all I really can say too until we get into spoilers.
All right. So if you haven't watched the show, this is your spoiler warning. We both gave it 9s, so we highly recommend it. So go check it out and come on back. But if you have seen it, then we're going to get into spoilers and talk more in depth about the episodes.
Okay.
So
first and foremost, the Kate girl is a lot better in this show.
Yes, she is.
And, Monarch.
Yes, she's doing a really good job. And did you notice that her dad in Monarch is also in this show?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's
I'm like, oh,
Ishido, which I thought
that's
was
right.
kind of
Yeah,
funny.
Shido. But no, what were you gonna say?
I was going to say that I agreed with you that it just kept getting better and better. My first notes here is that the first episode started off kind of slow. It wasn't bad, but it was definitely a little slower than the other episodes.
I was a little confused too with just the character. It's like the first episode of a show. They're introducing a lot of characters.
Yeah.
And like half of it is subtitles, so. Yeah,
and I feel like it also makes sense because he's the main character, the Anjin, the barbarian, whatever you want to call him, the Blackthorn. He's like a fish out of water.
Yeah.
So he's like,
yeah, that's true.
We're stuck with him. Like, basically, he knows nothing about what's going on. Pretty much, he's captured. He's in jail. He's trying to figure out why they're like shuttling him around all the places. Yeah,
I think that's some of my favorite thing of the show so far is just him kind of learning the culture and like kind of being fascinated in a way or talking crap about it.
Yeah, I think that works really well where he just won't shut up, but most of the time nobody else has any idea what he's saying except for like one person who's like, I'm not going to translate that.
It's like John Blackthorne's like a perfect person to kind of see it through it.
Yeah.
What do they say? He has like a potty mouth, right? A bad mouth.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's so funny seeing that next to how serious everyone else is, like in Japan, all the Japanese people are like super serious, have all these customs, and he's just there spouting off all kinds of filth.
That's stupid.
Yeah.
Like there's some things when he's just like, that's a dumb custom or something. But then he's also fascinated with some other aspects. Yeah. So it's interesting.
Yep.
The special effects and the way it looks great too. Like it looks better than 95% of the shows out there.
Yeah, I agree. Even just like the opening, like the intro, I sometimes skip intros, but this one I really like with the sand and then it turns into like the water with the ship on it. It looks really good.
It looks really good, and the music gets more intense. And yeah, I really like it. And then the other thing I noticed with the show too is it has like the acting is all good. Like I've liked all the acting, and I saw some people complaining that when they speak Portuguese, it's just in English, and I'm like, well, if you think about it, like you're kind of seeing it through John Blackthorne's by like his point of view, so it makes sense to just listen to whatever language he's listening to. You get what I'm saying? Yeah.
Like he can understand it, so just to make it easier, instead of having like 90% of 90% subtitles, now it's just like 50% or something. Yeah.
And I saw there's like an English dub version on Hulu, and I'm like, wait, really?
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, if you go on Hulu, there's a separate section. There's an English dub version of the show. And I'm like, oh, I mean, I don't know. To me, that was odd because like there is already English in the show, so like, why do you need to? I don't know.
I feel like that would make it confusing because part of it is that nobody can understand him. So, like,
I feel like it's like important like that. Like if we don't understand them, so like I don't know. I feel like it kind of ruins a little bit of like the immersion. But I guess each their own.
Yeah, some people don't like subtitles, so I guess they're just trying to appeal to everybody.
Yeah. Which I don't mind subtitles at all either. Like
I don't mind it at all.
Another character I really like. So, how do you feel about like all the characters? Obviously, we talked about John Blackthorne, or the Barbarian they call him, or what's his new name now?
Anjin for pilot. They call him a bunch of stuff. He also got that other title. I forget what it's called.
Special title or whatever. But yeah, how do you feel about like the other characters besides him?
I really like them. I know who my favorite character is, and it is Toranaga, hands down. I think he is such a cool character. Him being like kind of sly and cloak and dagger, and like in episode 3 when he pulled that escape with his switching out with his wife, and him just being one step ahead. That's been my favorite character. Blackthorn's up there. I like his fish out of water kind of storyline, but I'm really liking Toranaga. But I think all the acting has been really good. Mariko, Toranaga, Ishido, Blackthorn, all of them. Rodriguez, I really like Rodriguez too. He's funny.
Oh, yeah, Rodriguez is funny. I liked the. He was the one who that was kind of guiding or bringing him back, right, on the ship at the beginning.
Yeah,
and then let him live.
Yep. Where Blackthorn saved
like
him, and then he let him through.
He's like, we're even now.
Yeah.
But I kind of like it because he was funny because he's like, I don't care if he dies.
Yep.
Like he almost has a respect and he's like kind of likes him.
Yeah.
How do you feel about what's his name? Kashiagi or
is that the one who's under Toranaga?
It's the uncle. Yeah. It's the kid's uncle in that village.
He's definitely
he's kind of playing both sides, kind of in a way.
I feel like he's trying to be like Toranaga, but in the wrong way. He's trying to be sneaky and underhanded, but I don't think it's going to work out for him. I think he's one of those characters where he tries to be smart and it gets him killed, probably.
It's interesting because he's not necessarily bad,
right?
He's just like playing both sides in a way to try to stay alive, try to outsmart.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and I think his acting has been good with that too. Like he's shown that actor's done a good job.
Character.
Yeah,
like he's an interesting character because it's like I don't like hate him, but I also like dude, what do you want? Like, what side do you want?
Yeah, and
in episode 4 too.
Oh yeah, the ending of that one.
That was the first moment, like the oh shit moment for me, like in a show. You know, you have that moment in a show. Like this was the first one, kind of like Game of Thrones was. You know the moment I'm talking about.
Yeah. That definitely was a similar moment, and just to talk about that moment, I did not expect because I think it was Toranaga's son, right, who kind of went rogue and
what's his name? It's Yoshi's.
It's Yoshi something.
No, sorry, Yoshi. It's just Yoshi Nagakado.
Yeah.
It's
Nagakado.
It's Yoshi. Yeah. I wasn't expecting that either.
Yeah, that moment where the cannon comes through and hits the horse and then everything just starts exploding, that was a crazy moment.
Like, it was gruesome, my lord.
Yeah, it was. They did not pull any punches on that one.
No, and I knew because they kind of foreshadowed that he was, he said he's going to take care of it. Don't tell my father.
Yeah.
But I wasn't expecting that. I thought he was just going to, I don't know, just fight, with swords or something.
Right. Yeah.
I didn't expect that. And then, of course, his uncle, or not the uncle, that guy, like Kashigi or
yeah.
I can't remember his name. I'm bad at pronouncing his name, so apologize if I'm not pronouncing these right.
Yabushige. Yeah.
Yabushige.
Kashigi Yabushige.
Oh Lord, I'm just calling him Cash. But his reaction is like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah, because he's the one getting most screwed by this.
Because now he's almost now he's forced to stand by his side.
Yeah, by Toranaga's side. Yeah,
unless Yoshi's like, I don't know, where did Yoshi he obviously has a suspicion that Cash is working with the other guy, but he doesn't know for a fact or anything, right?
Yeah, I agree. I don't think he knows for sure, but he definitely, because of how the conversation went the day before, I think he knew something was up.
So he didn't know, but he knows something's up. So even so, do you think he's gonna what do you think he's gonna do with Ash and that side and all his people?
I don't know. I think it depends on what Yabushige does, or did it show him after that started? I can't remember. Does
it show?
It didn't.
Who after it started?
The Kashigi Yabushige.
After Yeah, it showed him towards the end. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
When he cut the when he dabbed or cut the guy's head off, it showed him.
Okay.
After that.
Yeah, I don't know because he doesn't have
terrified.
Yeah, because he doesn't have proof that he was doing anything, to play both sides. So I don't know, but I kind of feel like he's gonna take over that group that did that. And
now, how do you think his father's gonna react to that?
I think his hand's kind of been forced. He has to now go to war. I think he's probably not going to be happy about it because it didn't. I'm sure he was setting up some things that probably are like ruined now or have to go faster.
I'm glad Yoshi did that. I liked how he did that because I'm like, dang, at least someone kind of senses what's going on. But I mean, maybe he took it a little too far. But
yeah.
I don't know though. At the same time, I don't know. That's such a delicate thing. This is why I love shows like this.
Yeah, I know.
Because you have to think in the long haul, like the political side of it, right?
Yeah. I feel like Toranaga was setting some stuff up that probably would have worked better, but but now
I just want to fast track it,
Yeah.
With violence. I guess before all that, so episode 1 was mainly just him kind of they get his ship.
Yeah, figuring out what the heck's going on.
Yeah, that's pretty much all, right? Oh, and then the nephew of Cash, do you remember his name?
I don't remember his name.
He was kind of a douchebag to him.
Yeah.
Because they're they're treating him like crap. And then that's when
Omi.
Okay, there you go. So it's pretty much this episode is pretty much him figuring things out and kind of going through the ringer.
Yep.
And then it's showing that main city or town. I don't remember the name of the town or city.
Osaka.
So this first episode, I was a little confused because they introduced so many characters and so many concepts. And again, I don't know anything about this history time period or the culture in this time period. Nothing. I know nothing. And
yeah, I'm similar.
So I found it fascinating, but I was a little confused at first. But the whole thing of how there's pretty much five people who will kind of take control as a committee until the old emperor's son comes to age.
Yep.
It's a very interesting concept, and the civil war of it all. One wants to control all of it, or I don't know. You have to have all 5 votes to do things. It's really interesting.
Yeah, and I liked how it's set up from the beginning that Toranaga is a target, and the rest of them are all on Ishido's side, and it makes a lot of the scenes very tense. Of man, he's just fighting for his life out there, trying to. He doesn't even want the Shogun title or anything. He's just trying to hold on and not die.
Yeah, pretty much. That first scene they showed, remember, and then they put him in the committee and pretty much said they're going to vote on what they're going to do with him.
Yeah,
and then one of his people lashed out, and then he got sentenced to die along with his kid.
Yeah, he
oh
volunteered to commit seppuku. Yeah, because he embarrassed him. Yeah.
Then the punishment. There's still a punishment of killing the kid too.
Well, yeah, he said he would end his whole bloodline, and that's how they did it.
Oh, that was that scene,
especially with Fuji, his wife. That was heartbreaking.
Yeah, we'll talk about her in a little bit because she's turning into an interesting character too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that scene, and then I think they showed it again in another episode, or a different perspective of it.
They set up that he was going to be put to death, and they took the kid, and then in another episode they actually did it. Yeah, in 2 or 3.
Geez, there's stuff like that. Yeah, because that's right. Because she was explaining. That's when Kate, whatever her name is in the show,
yep. Mariko, I think.
Mariko Sama, right?
Yeah, Mariko Sama. That's yeah.
That's when she's explaining it to Blackthorn.
Yep.
And again, I know we mentioned before, but my favorite scenes in the show are the ones of like just seeing Blackthorn's response to all these culture, like the different culturally. What am I looking for?
The
different
cultural differences.
Yeah, cultural differences. There you go. Of just seeing like how he reacts and his facial expressions, and then he finds some beauty in it. What in episode 4, he went to like that pond to swim, and was saying how it's just beautiful out here, and England's dirty, but there's a lot to do. But yeah, that was mostly episode 1. What was episode 2? I don't remember.
I don't remember too much. I think that's the one where the Catholic priests might show up and translate for him a bit, and which
they wanted him to make the map. That's right, explain the map. Oh, and the attempted assassination, right?
Oh yeah, yep.
Yeah, that was a good scene too.
Yeah, when they finally got that translator, I was like, oh man, it was such a relief. It's like they could finally understand each other, even if it's just a little bit. Because it almost got it. I enjoyed it, but it's almost frustrating. Like, man, I wish they could just talk to each other. But
yeah, exactly. Like,
so I mean, that's kind of the point. So they did a good job there. And then and then you eventually realize that, oh, this guy, even though he did translate correctly, he's definitely not on his side. And then Mariko comes in, and you're like, okay, this person is a good translator who understands what's going on, isn't trying to trick him completely, at least.
So her role, how was she in relation? So she was just married to someone in his guard or whatever, right?
Yeah.
That's why she's in the inn.
Yeah, in Buntaro. She was married to Buntaro.
So that's why she's so close to
Toranaga,
to Toranaga,
and she knows Portuguese because she's studied under the Catholic priests, the Portugal priests.
That's right, and her husband was like not happy with it.
Yeah, that was interesting seeing his reaction to her like getting more involved in Toranaga's affairs, and I didn't like him that much, but he did have a cool death.
Yeah, he did. He did have a cool death. Like that scene was a good scene too.
Yeah.
I don't remember if that was episode 2 or 3.
That was 3. I have a hard time deciding whether episode 3 or episode 4 was my favorite, because the ending of episode 4 was amazing. But I really liked the whole scene from when Toranaga escaped Osaka all the way to the ship part where he was going out of the bay. And my favorite...
That's when they started building that relationship, too.
Yeah, and my favorite line, I think, in the episode so far, was when they're almost to that fishing village, and then they start getting attacked, and then the people who are escorting him realize that Toranaga's there, and then everybody just starts to fight each other, and the people who originally attacked him are just like, wait, are they fighting each other?
Oh, that's right, yeah. That's at the Portuguese, right? They're up there.
Yeah.
You're right. Those last episodes 3 and 4, I kind of have a hard time too, because that whole scene of them escaping was a very interesting scene, or just 15-20 minutes.
I feel like that was the first time we got to see Toranaga plan something really sneaky. Before, we kind of just talk about it, how he's like super smart and like comes up with good plans and stuff, but then we actually get to see it, and we're also in the point of view of like, we don't fully know what's going on. We know something's going on because Blackthorn saw the lady leave the thing they were carrying her in. But
and this is kind of the episode where like or Blackthorn kind of like, you can kind of see him kind of, I don't know if he's necessarily gaining trust right now, but like he's helping them, and they're slowly starting to like, especially I need to write these names down. Mariko, especially her, like as she's slowly, I feel like starting in this episode, it's like, okay, maybe he's not so bad of a dude.
Yeah, and I think that even goes even further in episode 4. We talked a little bit about her before, but with Fuji, because she, now that her husband's dead, she's now the Blackthorn's consort. And at first he's like, I don't need a consort. What the heck is this? But then he starts to kind of warm up to her and tries to give her a gift, and, which is a nice thought. But she's like, I don't need these. But that kind of shows that he is a good guy. He's trying his best, even though he's kind of a scoundrel. He also cares about people. So I like that scene a lot.
Yeah, and even the scene where the nephew wants to take his guns, and she's like, "Give it to me." Fuji said that, and then she takes it, and the nephew's still asking for it. And she just points the gun at him, like, "Okay, leave."
Even though she probably has no idea how to use it, really, but it worked. It worked.
Blackthorn's like, "Okay, that was good."
Yeah, I think that's where he was like, "Okay, I can trust this person a little bit more than I thought." Yeah.
Yeah, and then her slowly throughout the episode, like you said, him giving the gifts, and then she gives him her family swords.
Yeah.
Which he didn't want, but then Marco said, "You
should take
you
these."
have to."
Yeah.
It's I think all the characters are solid, and the one now I'm excited because before the ending of episode 4, Yoshi, he wasn't like a huge, I wasn't like, interested in him necessarily.
Yeah.
But after, his decision of pretty much starting a war, I'm like, oh, okay, I'm interested. Like, I'm interested to see where his character goes.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, he wasn't really on my radar that much. He was kind of just there. Seemed like he was learning behind his dad, but now he's taking a really big front seat in something. So
yeah,
I wonder if he'll live through his betrayal, I guess, or whatever you want to call it.
I don't know. I'm very curious too. Like, I'm wondering, like, what's going to be the first big death? You know what I mean? Like, is it going to be Yoshi for what he did, and then, like, maybe that's what gets his father to kind of get into it, or is it going to be
I have a feeling it could be that, or it could be Toranaga himself, possibly.
I was thinking that too. They could pull like a Game of Thrones, right?
Yeah.
I was thinking that too, which I hope not, though, because he's such an interesting character.
Yeah.
Or it could be what's the other guy's name? Makasan, or the guy kind of playing both sides.
Oh yeah. I cannot remember his name. Kabashige or something.
I mean, maybe. I don't know. I'm very curious to see how it plays out.
Yabashige. Bashiki Yabashige.
Yeah,
the names are interesting because in Japanese they like flip the names, so they put their like family name first. So Yoshi, so it's Yoshi Toranaga and Yoshi Nagakato, are the father and son, and so
Nagakato. Okay. Oh, and interesting.
So that guy's name is Yabushige, and his family name is Kashigi. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. So yeah, we're talking about episode 3, and I liked all that. And then obviously we talked about the boat scene, them escaping, and then Rodriguez, sparing his life.
Yeah,
could have killed him pretty much.
I love the banter between Rodriguez and Blackthorn. They're just like shouting back and forth on the boats. It's so funny.
I do too. I love and just like a Blackthorn, like, when he passed through, like, just his excitement, like, I feel like it's contagious. Like, even people can't understand him, and they're like smiling, like, yeah.
And he's like going up to the cannon, like, yeah, good job, like, point it there, and they're all like, I don't know what you're saying, but yay.
Well, Blackthorn just in general, and he tells when he tells what's her name? Marco, when he's telling Marco, and you can tell this piss off, blah blah blah, this, and then she's like, and he's very grateful.
I know. I love when she translates it like completely differently. It's funny.
It's great. I love it. But episode 4, I really liked episode 4 too, because it had liked the idea of the training, with cannons. Because at first so the whole deal, I guess we kind of skipped it with Blackthorn. He made a deal, right, to train.
Yep.
Their army or men for he gets his boat and his men back.
Yep. Which
and
before we get to that, do you think his men are still alive? Because he's asked a couple times and he's always gotten really evasive answers.
I don't know. I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so
or
either.
Maybe a few are left.
Maybe.
Like every time he asks. And that might be like a thing like in a future episode, like, oh, you were lying to me, you knew they were dead.
Yeah.
But another thing I forgot to mention, the end of episode 3, I really like that ending too of him and
Toranaga doing the diving.
Him doing the diving and him wanting to
race,
show him this, and I don't know, he's gaining respect. They found the book, right? Or the
his logs showing that he's a pirate.
Yeah, the Portuguese gave him the book and he's like, oh, it will take a long time to translate. Kind of scaring him pretty much,
Yeah. As long as he'll train his men and
that was the whole deal, yeah. But I like that ending, how it was it's kind of like, I don't know.
It was interesting.
Together, boom.
Yeah, I did like that. And then in the next episode, in episode 4, it kind of seemed like they misunderstood what the deal was, because Blackthorn was asking for his ship back, and feeling like he was betrayed because he didn't get it, and Marco was like, well, you said you would train, and then when he did try and train, it looked like he was way out of his depth at first. He's like, yeah.
Oh, that's right. He's explaining. He was explaining what England has done, and he was explaining a war that was before he was even born.
Yeah.
And then she's like, yeah, maybe you should try to explain something or you've been a part of. And that's kind of where he got to deal with the canyons.
Yeah.
And then they're all kind of mocking him, right? Like, oh, the canyons, they're not accurate. They can't hit nothing. This is dependable.
And then
boom, boom, boom.
Yep, nails the target first try.
And then I thought it was funny too, at the beginning of episode 4, when they get to when they land, it's all the army and the people cheering for him.
Oh, yeah.
That lady's like, oh, we should have gotten better sake. and then he left. He's like, I'm not staying. And then she's like, oh, we should have got cheaper.
That was pretty funny, throwaway lines. Yeah. And Yabashige was not happy that they were cheering for Toranaga so much after it started. They started out cheering for him and then ended up cheering for Toranaga the whole time.
I don't know. I really liked, and all the training with the cannons, and then stuff with what's his consort's name?
Fuji, I think.
Yeah, Fuji. The stuff, all the kind of relationship with Blackthorn and her, and
which in the first few episodes I felt really bad for her, but I was not expecting her to become a big character, and she seems like she is. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that at all either. At all. So I feel like episode 4, so 3 and 4 are where I started getting a little less confused and kind of feeling the vibe of the show.
Yeah.
But specifically episode 4 was the episode where I was like, okay, I understand what's going on. I kind of familiarizing myself with every character.
Yeah.
Episode 4 is when I truly am like, okay.
Starting to settle in.
I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's where
similar to Game of Thrones.
Yeah, it is a good comparison. Because especially of that shock value of, okay, this is what kind of show it's going to be when there's a betrayal and then stuff just starts grossly exploding and craziness kicks off. Yeah.
Overall, man, 9 out of 10. I mean, I'm trying to think of negatives, and
so the only really negative I wrote down was just, it did start off a little slower, but I mean, you kind of have to for this kind of story. And also just trying to remember who everyone is, which also, again, is kind of part of the story.
Yeah, it's all like in due time, but it
Yeah.
definitely starts slower. Like you have to invest your time.
Yeah.
And it's not one of those you can't like you got to pay attention, especially if you're watching with the dialogue.
Right. Subtitles, yep.
But even regardless, like you have like just you can't like be on your phone during the show or nothing. Like if you miss something.
Which it does a really good job of keeping my attention, at least. I'm like glued to the screen.
It was slower, but not for me, not necessarily in a bad way. It's just you know, if you're going in expecting action, that's not what the show is.
Yeah.
It's
not
at
like
least not right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure maybe, you know, future seasons or finale or something, I'm sure there'll be battles and stuff. But like this is like, you know, it's a slow build up, and then when action hits, like you said, it's like it's hard hitting. Like,
yeah.
But yeah, I love it. Love the characters, the special effects. Like it looks amazing. It looks like high production. It doesn't look cheap like Halo
for sure.
does.
It looked really good. And I feel like the casting, especially for Blackthorn, has been really good. Like just even his voice, it's like that's a pirate's scoundrelly voice. Like that was
because they could have gotten that. I feel like they could have gotten that character like wrong totally. Like
yeah, they could have tried to go more like a Jack Sparrow piratey like kind of thing, but I feel like they did. Yeah, they did a good cast.
Is Blackthorn a real pirate? Sounds like a real pirate name. Doesn't it John Blackthorn?
Yeah, I don't know. Let's see. I think he's just from the novel. He's loosely based on the life of 17th century English navigator William Adams, who was the first Englishman to visit Japan. But I guess he's just a character made from the show with
William Adams, so they just made it a cooler name.
I guess Blackthorn.
So, yeah. But no, I'm pumped for this. I'm pleasantly surprised because I had only heard about the show like a few days before the first episode came out, and I was like hearing really good things about it. I'm like, you know what? People are saying like this is a 10 out of 10 type of show, so I'm gonna try it.
Yeah, I had seen some previews and I was like, oh, that looks interesting, but I didn't really think that much of it. But yeah, I'm really glad you pointed it out and we started watching it.
So we got episode 5. Well, at the time we're recording this, aired today, so we'll do that for next week, and then we'll just do it weekly basis. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So we still got what 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's gonna be 10 episodes, I think.
Yeah. So 6 more weeks.
So 6 more. Oh yeah, sweet.
Very nice. And then after the show's over, I'm definitely gonna go read the book.
I might too. Yeah, I'll do that too because that'll be interesting.
Yeah.
Sweet.
All right. Yeah. Good.
Can't wait for next week.
Good show recommendation, Alex, and I'm excited to keep watching it.
Everyone go watch it. It's a really good show.
Yes.
And sorry I butchered a lot of the names. Give me time.
We'll get better at it, yeah.
Yes.
I've got a little bit more like practice at Japanese names from watching anime, but it's still not easy.
That's true. Oh, that's funny. Cool. All right, what do we got next?
Let's talk about Invincible, season 2.
Invincible.
Episode 5. So I think we both found out about it or remembered it at around the same time because I realized, I was like, oh, is Invincible back on? And then you texted me like a few hours later. I was like, I just realized that too.
Yeah, so, like I'm like, oh, it's out today or yesterday or whatever. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm glad. I didn't realize.
Yep.
Okay,
so let's give our thoughts. I'll let you go ahead and give your thoughts and score on it, and then I'll give mine. And then we'll get into spoilers.
Okay. I thought this picked up I thought it picked up real good after episode 4. I think it's a good continuation. I think it's on par with episode 4. I think it's better than the first few episodes of part 1. I would give this one probably an 8 out of 10. I really enjoyed it. There are some pretty brutal and intense fight scenes, and just emotionally, just him, with the whole him finding out the brother and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But I liked it. I enjoyed it. The storylines felt like in this episode felt important to the story, and it wasn't just random setups for futures. Like, it felt like every plot point felt like it should be in this episode, because in some of the episodes in the beginning of season 2, there were some random, like the lizard people, and it's like would randomly be thrown in there, like, which I'm sure in the future episodes, like, great, but like in this episode, it felt very like, I don't know, it felt very connected, connective tissue. So I liked it. I enjoyed it. 8 out of 10.
I tend to agree. I had some problems with this episode, but I'm trying to distance it from. I feel like most of my issues with this episode stem from the break that they had, and so I'm trying to like take that out a little bit and base it just solely on the episode. So I was between a 7 or an 8. I ended up going with an 8 because I do think it's a really good episode. The biggest downsides I had were just like we had to wait 2-3 months or however long it was, and it kind of just killed a little bit of momentum for me. But on its own, I think it was a really good episode. So yeah, I'd give it an 8. It was good to see like the fallout after what happened in the end of the first half of the season. I do think the second half of this episode was much better than the first. Like, it really just kind of escalated and turned into a really good episode in the second half. But it was a really good episode. I enjoyed it. And I don't think I can really say anything else without getting into spoilers. So yeah, I'll give it an 8.
Would you put it above the first 3 episodes of the season?
I think so, yeah. Because like you said, on par with the 4th episode. I don't remember what I gave the 4th episode. Yeah. It might. I'll have to go and look at my score, and it's been a little while since we've seen it. That's part of the problem. Yeah. But yeah, I think the second half of this episode was probably some of the stronger parts of this whole season.
Okay, good.
All right, so we're going to get into spoilers for Invincible Season 2, Episode 5.
You've been warned.
Okay.
All right, I'll let you start with this one.
So, my problem with this episode, and again, I think it's mostly because of the break, is it seemed like the first half of this episode was a cooldown for everything that happened at the end of episode 4, which would have worked perfectly if we got it the next week. Yeah. But we got it 3 months later or
not
whatever.
As like a premiere kind of for second half.
Yeah, so the first half of the episode felt a little slower. It was a lot of, Mark getting back, Mark talking to his mom, Mark talking to his girlfriend, and just explaining to everybody what happened, where he was, which it wasn't bad. And it was, I guess it kind of worked to get me back into it, to remember, okay, yeah, that happened. He now has to take care of his brother. So I guess it's not all bad. I think I'm mostly just annoyed at the break. I wish they would have just pushed off.
What you're saying, though.
Pushed off the first half of the season. Yeah.
Yeah, like 2 months, 3-month break or whatever it was. Like, yeah, I get what you're saying. Kind of starts slow, go back in. Like, yeah.
But I do think like the stuff with his brother is interesting and is a really weird situation, especially for Debbie, who's just finally now trying to get back on her feet, and now she has her ex-husband's son with some other alien woman. It's a weird situation. But it'll be interesting seeing him grow up like faster and catching up to Mark, and see what they do with him. So I'm excited to see that in the future. Yeah. What did you think of that? Sure. The brother stuff?
I liked it too. It's interesting. I mean, it's as interesting as it is, like in this episode specifically, it kind of played out exactly how I knew it would.
Yeah.
He'd bring him home. Mom would have to watch over him. It'd be a weird situation. So like, it is interesting, but it's also predictable, at least right now.
Yeah.
But no, I did like it, and I do think in the future it's going to be even more interesting.
Yeah, I agree with that. Another thing that happened in the first half of the episode that I think was a little better was Donald's scene where he's like, I'm interested to see where they go with him. It's still this part of the episode felt more like set up for future. But him finding out. This is
the one part I was going to say that did feel a little separate.
Yeah. I did like the scene where he kind of freaked out and told everybody to get out and stood up for himself. That was good to see. Yeah,
because even he's like, even a what's his face, like, oh, okay, you got my attention.
Yeah.
You don't yell, dude.
Yep. And then him finding out that basically all of his body has been replaced with a robot body. And,
pretty like super strong, pretty much.
Yeah, I kind of wonder if he's going to join one of the superhero teams or just still kind of
that would be awesome, though.
Yeah, or if he's still just going to be Cecil's right-hand man. Yeah, seeing him with all the other superheroes would be kind of funny.
It would be hilarious. Yeah, I would like that. But
just
I'm very
Donald
curious
standing there.
Yeah. Because we haven't read the comics or anything, so like I don't know.
Yeah.
Where these, if it's even in comics or where it goes. So like for us, it's a surprise.
Yep. And let's see.
What other plot points?
I feel like that was mostly the first half of the episode was Mark getting back, talking to everybody, and then the Donald stuff.
His girlfriend too.
Yeah.
And you know, it's not like I don't dislike her character this season, but I just don't care about her. Do you get the same feeling?
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing because they kind of like changed her character to not really care that Mark's a little more distant with his superhero stuff, but like I don't know where it goes from here. I don't know. She definitely doesn't seem as important this season, and yeah, I don't know.
I wonder if I wonder if her character goes like in a different direction, like you said in the comics, but is she like maybe does she turn like evil eventually, and like maybe then we'll care about her storyline, or I'm curious where, or she dies. Like I wonder.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because I agree. Like it's kind of a boring storyline because there's nothing really there right now.
Yeah.
And I don't care about their relationship. Do you?
No, not really. Especially this season, it doesn't even feel like they're really in a relationship that often.
I know. Yeah, it's really the college stuff, really, like I don't care about because we haven't really seen anything at the college, really.
Yeah. It kind of seems like
I like the idea.
He might even get kicked out of college because he's never there.
Yeah, so that kind of side of the story for me is the least interesting, just because I don't care about any of the characters away at college.
Yeah.
We haven't seen anything, really.
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, that was the whole first half. And then what was the second half?
So
the mission, pretty much.
Yeah, there were the Sequids are coming to Earth, and they so at some point
what's his face is hilarious too.
The Shapesmith is
he was so funny.
Yeah, he's always pretty. I've always enjoyed how his comedy in these, him trying to be human, and that whole fight with the omnipotent guy kind of was. I feel like that was in the first half, kind of, but we didn't see much of it, and I think the only real reason for it was to show that he was a Martian to was it Bulletproof that found that out? And then there was a funny scene where Cecil's like, yeah, of course we knew you were a Martian.
Yeah. He was like, like, you're lying? You're like, no, I was lying. I'm not lying now. I was just cracking up with something.
Yeah. There is a character who I feel like kind of stole the show in the second half of this episode. And I think that was Rex. I feel like he really stepped up and took a bigger part of the limelight in this episode with his talk with Eve and kind of getting her back in the fight. And it actually showed that he can be kind of a good guy sometimes, not just a jerk all the time.
Even though like he still needs something, like I really do think he cares.
Yeah. And then obviously the ending, which we'll get to, but yeah, he had a big part in that too. So the Sequids are coming, and they send all of the superheroes who would be impervious to their like mind control thing with their like Legion mind, and so they all go up to space to fight them, and that leaves, who is it? Duplicate, Rex, Shrinking Ray, back at base to hold down the base.
Yeah. And I think nothing's gonna go wrong, right? Ordering pizza.
Yeah, they're ordering pizza. I will say one other negative I have for this is the stuff with the sequids. I feel like the animation was just okay. It wasn't super strong. Like, it kind of just looked like a wave of mush, kind of. I don't know if you noticed that.
Yeah, I did. I agree.
And they were just kind of like punching it. Yeah, they're just kind of like standing there punching. It's like, is that really all they can do? But I did like Eve's stuff, and that was cool. Like her being able to save them when their ship broke up and then get them on board the other ship.
Like all the people who could fly pushed the force bubble to the ship, and then she like just
phased them through.
Fuse the thing. Yeah, phased them through, whatever.
Yeah. So that was good seeing Eve back in action. And where did that part end? Rudy was trying to like set up something to take them all out at once, and they were trying to keep him safe, but it kind of just ended on a cliffhanger kind of thing, right? Where they're about to get overrun by him. Bubble, pretty
much.
I think the bubble,
because it kept going back and forth between that and then on Earth.
Yeah. I think the bubble popped, and that's kind of where it left, is they're like about to be taken over by the sequids because Eve's thing went down.
That's right, because they were going to that, and then they're going to what was happening with the Rex and them, which to me was far more interesting personally.
I agree. Yeah, that's I'm saving that for the end, because that is definitely the best part of this episode.
Yeah.
So yeah, while that's all going on in space, Rex, Duplicate, and Shrinking Ray are back at the base ordering pizza, and then finally this lizard group that we've been hearing about randomly through the first 4 episodes show up and try and take over the what is it, Guardians of the Globe, their headquarters.
Guardians of the Globe. Yeah, because all the big wigs are up in space.
Yep. Yep, they have all the like C-tier superheroes back at the base. So they get in, and they're not expecting anyone to be there. The lizard people, it kind of seemed like, and they were just gonna like take it over and try and get money, I guess. But yeah, that's when things really kicked off. So so they take it over, and then Shrinking Ray shrinks down and gets inside and lets Rex and Kate in. And then that fight scene, I think, was one of the best of the season. It's up there with the Viltrumite fights, I feel like, because it was brutal.
I don't know. This was more interesting for me just because it was just different powers being used and kind of C-tier, like you said, heroes trying to fight. And Rex, like you hit it on the nail. Rex just stole the show for me. Like I liked Rex in the past, but like in this episode, like I didn't want him to die.
Yeah.
Like I was hoping, like, don't die, dude, don't die. Like I was rooting for him. Like they did a good job of like setting up this ending.
I agree. And I feel like over the Viltrumite fight, this one feels like it almost has more stakes because they're not all Viltrumites, because Viltrumites can take so much damage and still be fine.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah. So,
and like I don't expect like these characters to die like right now, to lizard people.
I did not expect that. Yeah.
No, like it was brutal.
Yeah. So I think, was Kate the first one to die? So
yeah, Duplicate was, because she was
fighting the big guy. Yeah.
Yeah. And he crushes like.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I was just say she's just duplicating, fighting, and the guy's crushing one by one, and then eventually she duplicates once more, and then like he crushes them both at the same time, or rips them in half or whatever. I don't remember specifically.
That moment when he gets both of the, like, as long as she has her main one, she's still fine, right? But he grabs the main one and the duplicated one, and you could just see the fear. You could hear it in her voice. She's like, help, and like she looked terrified, and then he just crunch, she's dead.
Yeah, because Rex and the what's her name? Shrinking
Ray.
Rex and Shrinking Ray were obviously distracted with the other lizard people, but I think Rex was like watching, kind of like no, like didn't he say something like no?
Yeah,
or
I think he noticed.
Kind of like watching. Yeah, noticed
right before it happened. Yep.
And then it was Shrinking Ray.
Yeah.
That was another brutal one.
Yeah, she did get, I think she killed one of them by like going into the eye and then popping out, which was pretty cool. But then, yeah, she tried the same thing with him and he just kind of chomped her, or like, he has a
because even Rex was like she doesn't only shrink, right?
Yeah, that's true. But man, his intestinal system or whatever, stomach, throat, whatever is strong. He just like chomped down on her.
She was trying to expand inside him, right?
Yep.
And then, like, because I was like, oh, okay, she's gonna kill him. Because Rex is like, oh, she grows in size, like she'll be fine. He just freaking chomps her down.
Yeah, because it started. You could like see her bulging out of him, and then he's just like, nope.
I know. I'm like, oh my lord.
Yeah.
And then Rex's moment.
Yep. He puts up a good fight. So, and he gets one of his bombs into the guy's mouth, right? And it explodes.
Mm-hmm.
But his hand comes with it, so he like loses a hand. And then,
that was brutal. I'm like, oh my god, are they gonna kill him?
Yeah. And I forget, when it ended, did it end with the main guy killing Rex, or is Rex still alive? Do we know? I forget.
I think Rex is still alive.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it was like this shot, I think, was the end of the actual like main episode.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Leafs fans shocked with big deaths and Glacier Club. Yeah. But I don't know, for me, like, I think you're right. I think it just, because it's not Viltrumites fighting, and I don't know why, but I just felt like Rex, I don't want to say he was untouchable, but he was one of those characters where I felt like would never die. He'd always linger around. Yeah,
because maybe he doesn't get into those big fights or like stays at a safe distance. He knows he's not the strongest, so he kind of keeps himself safe. But yeah,
so like, I wasn't expecting this at all. Like,
me neither.
And I think that's why I was so pleasantly surprised. Like, I get what you're saying. The first half was a little slower, kind of build up, or not build up, but fallout from last episode.
Yeah.
But man, dude, this last 15 or so minutes, specifically with Rex and them.
Yeah, I mean, it was so good. That's why I still gave it an 8, despite my issues with the first half.
True.
Like, it was.
I will say though, I do agree with you. With the people in space, what are those worm things called?
The sequids.
The sequids. Maybe it's because what was happening down here was so intense. I wasn't as into what was happening up there.
Yeah, I feel like they didn't spend as much time there or something. But yeah, I agree with you. Like, it's a really interesting idea, this thing that like takes over. It's kind of like the flood, right? But
yeah,
so it could be really devastating, but it didn't feel as impactful.
Why do you think that is? Is it because they just did such a good job with Rex and the team on the ground where you felt so bad and you weren't expecting it? Is that why?
Yeah, and there were actual deaths that I wasn't expecting. Whereas in the other one, they're just kind of in a bad spot, but they could still get out of it, maybe, so.
Yeah, I agree. Because all the people in space, I don't know, they're like the big, strong, people. They could fly, all this stuff. So
yeah.
I don't know. I agree with you. It just felt, I wasn't expecting the deaths. It felt gritty. It felt, it was just intense.
Yep.
But
yeah, that ending was devastating. It got me excited
for the next episode.
It did get me excited, yeah. I'm curious what happens to Rex. And I
hope he doesn't die, man.
Yeah, I know. I do too. After his talk with Eve, though, and this stuff started happening, I'm like, oh no, that doesn't look good for Rex. He had a nice heartwarming moment. That's not great.
They're finally humanizing him a little bit. And, yeah.
There was an after, well, not really credits, but
that's right.
There was a scene right after this with Alan.
Alan!
Yeah, so he's still alive, and I loved the part where I forget his name, Thaddeus or something, the guy played by Optimus Prime.
Yeah.
Thaddeus? Where the reveal of him being a Viltrumite is just him taking off his beard and just having a mustache. That was pretty funny.
It's like Clark Kent.
But I did like that.
So
I like
good.
that Alan's still alive. I'm kind of glad that Thetis isn't actually bad, because it kind of set up that with him taking Alan off of life support.
I think that's such a cool idea of having a Viltrumite, like a rogue Viltrumite that's good.
Yeah.
I think that's cool. Yeah, I'm excited for that.
And it gives Mark someone who could be, you know, someone to go to figure out his Viltrumite stuff, what's going on with the Empire coming, and yeah, it gives him an ally.
He'd be like the Yoda or Obi-Wan or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gandalf.
So
that's Alan.
Yeah, I know. Like so with Alan, I kind of have a theory that possibly Alan's going to bail them out from the Sequid thing. He might come in and help or something.
Wow.
But I don't know. They could get out in
You're
different ways.
probably right, actually. I mean, Thaddeus or whatever did say, like, we can go get Mark. Straight up. So, yeah, I don't know. I liked that. I totally forgot about that scene because we're talking about Rex and them. But yeah, that was interesting too. 3 more episodes, right? Isn't there only 8 episodes?
Yeah, I think so. 3 more.
Yeah. 3 more. Even though it feels like we just got it back, because we did just get it back.
True, yep.
2 years wait, 8 episodes.
Yep. But it's good, so I'll give it a little bit of a break on that.
It is good. Still not level 1, season 1 good for me.
Sure, yeah. Especially that one episode in season 1, yeah.
Yeah, but we'll see. I mean, there's still 3 episodes, and I do like, again, I think I mentioned it before the spoilers, I just love how much more contained this felt. Like, every storyline felt important in this.
Yeah, and instead of just setting things up, they're actually paying things off. Like, we got both this episode. We got payoff and setup, instead of some of the other episodes. It was like 5 different things setting up with not really.
I think it was like episode 3, like where he went under to the sea creature thing.
Yeah.
Wow, damn, so much going on in that episode. I'm like, Jesus.
Yep.
But anyways, yeah, I'm excited. 8 out of 10. I'm glad it's back, and I can't wait.
Yeah, I'm very glad it's back, even though it was a surprise. But it was a nice surprise.
Yeah, pleasant surprise.
All right. Well, we'll talk about this again next week then.
Yay. What we got next?
Next up, let's talk about Masters of the Air, episode 9, the finale.
Ooh.
Okay. So
I'm curious what you're...
Okay, I'll give my score first. So I gave this one, I was between a 9 or a 10. I think I'm going to go with a 10. I thought this was an amazing end to an amazing show. Sometimes endings can be really tough, but I feel like they nailed it with this one. The show overall did have some ups and downs, but I thought this was a really good send-off, and it forgives some of the lows. It wrapped up almost every character storyline. I say almost. We'll get to that in the spoilers.
I know what you're going to say.
And had some really great heartwarming moments between these characters we've come to know so well as some really like bone-chilling and sad moments. And I thought it wrapped everything up, left me with a great feeling, and was a great episode. I loved it.
Yeah, I agree. I would give it a 10 out of 10. You hit on the nail. A lot of shows fumble the ending, but this ending felt perfect. It felt cinematic. It had its happy moments. It's, like you said, bone-chilling, sad moments. The acting was good. It felt like a movie. It was like an hour and 20 minutes long.
Yeah.
There was conclusions for everything. There was good action. You finally got a little bit of ground war. Just a little bit.
Yep.
But man, I loved it too. And then, at the very, very end, after the credits, you got, the real life info on, where the characters ended up.
Yep. That was cool. I liked that.
Yeah, I liked that too. Yeah, I'd give it a 10 out of 10. I thought it hit the landing, and I'm happy, and I'm going to miss this show.
I know, seriously. Yep. All right, so we're going to get into spoilers of Masters of the Air. We both gave it a 10 out of 10, so we highly recommend you go see it if you haven't. And after, you can come on back and hear our thoughts on the spoilers. Okay.
So I'm curious to hear. So what characters of the non-closures were you talking about?
The biggest one was Sandra. Like, I was expecting something with Sandra, but like it just kind
There's
of nothing.
We didn't even get anything afterwards.
True, I know. She's like a ghost, which I guess makes sense for a spy, but still, I was expecting something. I don't know. But yeah, in episode 8, it was like we followed her. There's a scene in the with other spies, and then that's it. Don't know why we followed her, but okay, sure.
That was get it either.
That was probably my only negative of the episode, was that I was expecting that and didn't see any of it. Yeah.
And it would have been different if like we only saw Sandra with
Crosby.
With Crosby, but like they specifically, like you said, showed her on her own. Like without Crosby, like they had a little storyline for beginning of an episode of just her. And like I feel like that made us think like, oh, okay, well, then she's not just associated with Crosby, so she must be onto something.
Yeah. Yep, that's exactly the feeling I had.
But they're nothing. But I agree. But yeah, that's just a little nitpicky thing, but definitely odd.
Yeah. So let's see, how did this start? It started in Stalag Is that where it started?
Yeah, Stalag. Yeah. Yes.
I don't remember for sure, but
it all clumped together for me.
Yeah.
Like,
I will say
this. What are the main storylines?
Yeah, so the stuff at Stalag 3, and especially after they started moving them, that stuff was brutal. Like, those winters looked horrendous, and they were marching a long way each day. Like, they really showed how horrible it was to...
Didn't they walk like hundreds of miles?
It was like 20 kilometers or something.
Yeah, I saw at one point it was like 54 miles or whatever you want to say to Stalag 3, and then they still walked after that. I don't know if it said how much longer they walked, but yeah, that was some brutal winters. I mean, when they got to like a camp or whatever, they would all huddle next to the fire.
Yeah, they walked 160 kilometers total, so 100 miles. Man.
100 miles of walking in the winter.
In one of the worst winters in Germany, yeah.
Jeez. God.
Yeah, they really made it look brutal. Even like at one point the Nazi guy like starts to fall over. He looked like a corpse. And then one of the American guys like pulled him up and he said thanks, and yeah, that just shows everybody there was suffering.
Yeah, that whole storyline was interesting because I liked seeing again Buck and Bucky's relationship. Buck kind of I don't know, he gets kind of antsy, doesn't he? Like, we need to try to leave. Yeah. And then Bucky's like, no. And then eventually Bucky's like, okay, tonight, I promise.
Yeah, because it was not looking good there. Yep.
No. And that was after they were walking for obviously forever. Like
Yeah.
And then also they when was it? They didn't they get put on a train too?
Yeah, they did for a bit.
And they got the guy freaked out because they were in that town. Oh, I don't remember, because he was like, "Oh, we're in whatever this town is called." I don't remember.
Was it Nuremberg? I think it was Nuremberg.
So something like that, and that's like,
I think
he's like, we're in the heartland now. We're in Germany,
I'm pretty sure that guy was Jewish, and Nuremberg was one of the sites that they had all the Jewish people in or something.
Yeah. They're freaking out, and I think that's where Buck and Bucky and a couple other guys made that escape, right? Or Buck tried to.
Yeah, so Buck and a few other guys got away, but then Bucky got caught and luckily didn't get executed. Someone else stood up for him and said he needed him still, so
Oh, sorry. Have I been saying their names backward? Bucky or Buck is Elvis?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I've been saying their name backwards. Jesus Christ. I hate how they
Yeah.
I get it.
But yeah, that was
that
interesting how he got away and Bucky didn't. And
I want to know the time frame. What was the time frame of when they got away to when Bucky made it back to the main base?
yeah, I don't know. I think it was pretty close together, from what it seemed like in the show, but I don't know.
But it had to have been like weeks, right? Or a month or two.
Yeah, probably at least weeks.
I think they left in, was it March of 1995?
45?
Or in May? I think it was May. 45, sorry.
Yeah.
May. I don't know, either or. I mean, I would think it would have to take a long time, right?
Yeah.
Because then he even made it to another base where the whole breakout kind of happened.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know how long it was there. But...
And I don't know about you, but when we were following Buck and they get to that town, I was like on the edge of my seat. I was like, is this a Nazi-controlled town? They're just kind of walking in the streets, and then the people show up pointing guns at them, and it's like, oh, they're Americans. Okay. Whew.
Like a sense of relief. Like, oh.
Yeah.
Well, even before that, remember when they were sleeping in the forest and those kids?
The kids, yeah.
Stabbed him and killed him.
Yeah,
one of the guys
killed that one of the guys, and then Buck had the pistol and was about to shoot the kid and decided not to, and then realized there wasn't even any bullets in the gun. But like, that still was probably a tough choice. Like, it's just a kid, but he did try and kill you.
Yeah, and he stabbed and killed one of the guys with you.
Yep.
Like, I was like, geez, that was brutal. So there's that whole half, right? Bucky, the camps, having to walk miles and miles, and then the other side was at the base with Crosby, Rosie.
Yeah. So one thing I did like about the episode was seeing Rosie go up in that final air mission, and it just showed like it was just them. Like, there were no Luftwaffe. They had completely taken them out, and that was pretty cool to see, like, how much they just dominated the skies. He did end up getting hit by flak and going down, and his landing, that shot where he's going down and you see his plane in the background and it's crashing, and
that looks sweet.
And then he lands,
that looked really good.
And he lands right in the middle of an active war zone. Like, that was scary.
Yeah, that was intense.
Yeah.
Like, that was the first time where we've seen, like, shooting in war zone, like in no man's land, I think they called it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then you don't know which side is coming up to him. And he's just like, he says, like, American Pepsi, Cola, like Coca-Cola. He just starts naming American things, trying to be like, I'm on your side. That was smart, though. That was smart.
Intense, yeah, it was. American Coca-Cola, Pepsi. That shot was cool. Like, of him kind of flying, you could see his plane in the background going down and, like, exploding. Like, wow, that was, like, well shot.
Yeah, it was really well shot.
And then, like, at the very end, seeing, after the credits, reading about the real people, like Rosie, he's saying he went on the most missions at, I think it was 52.
52, yeah, that is crazy.
Like, 52, the most in the 100th, I think, right?
Yep.
It's like, wow, can you imagine 52 missions?
That's insane.
I couldn't imagine one.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah. And then we kind of followed him on his trek back. So he landed, the Russians took him in, and he was like talking to their commander about how to get back. And they stopped off at one of the concentration camps. And that, I feel like, was one of the most like impactful scenes and bone chilling. That's the one I was referring to, was as the bone chilling scene is him walking around that concentration camp and just seeing the bodies. That was so
well. 'Cause I was thinking about it. They've been running missions this whole war, so did they even realize how nasty it was in a place like that? It didn't. I don't think so.
I don't think anybody really realized at the beginning. Like it was after. I think it was after like Normandy, and they actually got on the ground that they realized how bad it was. Yeah, and they started finding these concentration camps. I don't know for sure, but
that's true. At least like to that extent, like walking in one.
Right. Yeah, and I just can't imagine.
I was like, jeez, could you imagine like seeing that like he did? Like, Lord,
no,
give me nightmares.
Yeah.
And then I like that conversation he had with the man too.
Oh yeah, that was heartbreaking.
Yeah, that was a real interesting conversation.
Yep. Him like saying he has no one, he lost everybody, and he doesn't know where to go, and yeah, it's so sad.
Yeah. They said like God will be with you, and he's like, I don't know if God will ever forgive me or something like that.
I think it was more like he doesn't even know if God's real anymore, kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. But then he gets back to the main base. I don't remember what the base is called.
Thorpe Abbott's.
There you go. And I like him and Crosby kind of talking.
Yeah.
And Crosby's like, oh, she's pregnant, because he asks how his wife is doing.
Yeah, that was a cool scene. Rosie being like, yeah, you'll be a good dad. That was a nice, heartwarming scene.
And then Rosie getting all excited for the plane he got to ride. Well, who was it?
When
I don't remember what he said. When he was explaining to Crosby, he's like, oh, I got to ride this plane that was something with the president. I don't remember what he said.
Yeah, on his way back, he was like talking about all the places he went, and I forget exactly what he said, but yeah.
Because, they love planes. So.
Yeah.
But that was an interesting conversation. Now, what about Crosby? I forget. What was his whole storyline this episode?
I don't think we saw that much of him up until, like, Rosie and Buck got back, and then they did that mission to drop the food for the Dutch.
Yeah. That's right.
Which was...
Oh, that's right, because then they had to go through the German air, see if they let them through.
Yeah, and that was so nice when, like, just seeing them be able to fly and do some good, drop in some food for people who are starving and meet no resistance, and But before that, I think probably my favorite part of the episode was Bucky at that last prisoner of war camp. And the moment when they see that P-51 and everybody starts cheering and they get so excited, and then just stuff starts exploding and the Nazis are like firing on them, and
the tanks come in from the outside.
The tanks come in, the P-51's like striking the tower, and seeing that tank must have been a really cool, really good feeling. Oh man, I can't even imagine that feeling, seeing that.
Yeah, that was like the first kind of like big ground action scene.
Yeah, and I can't believe, and it probably did go down like this, like just how fast from the moment they saw that P-51, it kicked off. A few things happened and then just felt like it was over, which, I mean, it was really cool to see, and I think it was good that way, but it was like surprising.
Yeah, it probably did. You're right. It probably did happen that fast. I mean, you got the P-51s, and then people resisting in there, and then you got the tanks coming.
Yep.
I mean, it probably got overwhelmed pretty fast, I would assume. I don't know. I like that scene. That scene felt a lot like Band of Brothers, kind of the ground war, explosions everywhere, chaos.
Yep. And then Bucky runs to get the flag, and
and with Alex,
and gets up to the top and throws down the Nazi flag and raises the American one, and then just hugs the flagpole. And that moment, it was like, oh, it's over, man. That had
then they had the Nazis surrender, you know,
Yep. Was
the
that
generals
Eisenhower or who was that general? I feel like that general was important, but I'm not that up on my history, so
I'm not either.
I feel like for people that know, that would have been pretty cool, but I forgot to look it up because I wanted to. But
if you know, let us in the comments because we're just two idiots talking.
Yep.
Yeah, that was very. I liked after that. You know, everyone's shaking, cheering, high fiving.
I loved how that general treated the Nazi guy. He's like, he did give him a quick salute, but then he was so cold to him, just like, I don't know, the way he stared him down was so good.
Handshake him.
Yeah,
he wanted to handshake, and he's like, no.
Yeah.
And then, of course, after all that, then it shows the gifts right there.
To get the food to the Dutch. And I loved how they put in the flowers. Many thanks, Yanks. That was cool.
And then on the way back, Buck,
they get a message from the tower, and Buck's like, "Can you repeat that?" And then it cuts to Bucky saying it, and it was like, "Oh, he's back! Yes!" That was such a cool moment. Yeah,
yeah, that was a cool moment.
I didn't really catch that it was Bucky at first, so they did that really well. Where Buck noticed. Buck noticed, and he's like, "Wait a minute, I know that voice. Can you say that again?" And then Bucky gives him the like, "You heard me the first time" kind of thing.
It felt so good having them back at the base, like Buck and Bucky, like, and Crosby seeing them, like the base felt like alive again.
Yep.
And after
just like relief.
How long were they gone for? Like 18 months or something like that? 2 years almost.
Yeah, that's crazy. Oh.
I still think I don't know. I thought Rosie's character was so interesting. Just kind of seeing, I don't know, for a character that wasn't in there from the beginning.
Yeah,
he was a really interesting character.
I think he might be like, I like Crosby a lot, but I think Rosie might be one of my favorite characters. And the fact that he wasn't there from the beginning and he came in and kind of stole the show, that was that was impressive.
Because he wasn't in the first 2 or 3 episodes, was he?
Yeah, he was part of the people backfilling all the people they lost. Yeah.
So it was kind of cool seeing him and Buck flying together.
Yeah, it was. That was cool. I love the moment where Buck was like, "I hope you don't mind. I always take the left seat," and then Rosie just waits and stares at him.
Oh yeah.
Nah, I'm just kidding. Yeah, it's fine.
And then we got, then the announcement at the end of the war, and surrender, and violence stopped 24 hours ago, and everyone cheering. That felt like I think then we got a little glimpse of Sandy, didn't we? And her spies for a second.
I don't remember now. Maybe
not. I thought we got like a little glance of like women sitting somewhere and with her like spies.
Maybe we did. That part. Like, I was just so relieved. I can't remember now. So happy and relieved. And I
don't know, that part, obviously, everyone cheering, excited. And I thought that, like, after that, like, them leaving the base, I thought that was really well done because, like, I don't know, there was something about. So, first of all, seeing Crosby and Rosie talk, him saying goodbye, you're going to be a great dad, that was another good scene.
Yeah.
But like when they're flying off and like seeing like the children go over and run over there, and then the townspeople like cheering them on, and then like it shows the planes go away, and then like the townspeople kind of just walking back to their houses, and like I don't know, it felt like it's crazy because 2-3 years, however long it was.
Yeah.
How long did World War II last? 2-3 years? 2 years? 2.5 years?
Yeah, somewhere around there.
2, 3, 4. No, it was longer than that. Anyways, for how many years they're there, and like all of a sudden. 6. I said 2 years.
Well, I think the Americans got there later after Pearl Harbor.
I guess I'm thinking in the context of what we've seen in the show.
Yeah.
But being there for that long, and then all of a sudden, like the Americans just being gone, like it almost felt like sad in a way. Like they built this relationship with these people and these kids. Got to see them build these planes, and they became friendly, and then it's done. Like, it's a good thing it's done, but like I like the way they filmed it. The way they filmed it, it was like quiet, and the townspeople just walking back, like, oh, okay, that's it.
Yep. It looks like it was just under 4 years from Pearl Harbor to the end of World War II.
Was the 100th there the whole time? No, or when did the 100th show up?
Let's see. When was their first mission? The first mission was in 43, so they were 2 years.
Okay,
just over right, 2 years. Yeah.
So 2 years at that base.
Yep.
Okay. But I don't know. I thought that was a really like beautiful scene of all the planes flying over or like flying away,
and like
showing the empty base and the townspeople just walking away.
Yeah, I
like,
love that the townspeople came and saw them off, and just how it seemed like they were grateful. And yeah, these people had lived together for 2 years, worked together on something really important. It was definitely an interesting moment where it's like, it's over, but we're also probably not going to see these people for a long time or ever. And yeah,
like that was your home for 2 years. That base is now just going to be empty.
Yep.
Kind of weird if you think about it.
Yeah. And I loved the credits showing all their like real pictures, showing what they got up to afterward. And yeah, that was, I loved reading through all that.
And all of them, except for Buck, right? Him that you have on the screen. I didn't realize he had passed away like so young.
Yeah, I know. I was
40,
surprised.
I think they said.
Yeah.
But the rest of the main, like Crosby and all them, it seemed like they went to school, they got their schooling done, they lived, 70, 80 years old.
Yep. Rosie went to Nuremberg as a lawyer to like prosecute the Nazis.
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was interesting seeing all where they ended up.
Yeah.
Even Bucky's wife, or Buck's wife, passing away unexpectedly.
Yeah, that was sad. Yep. Felt so bad. The day after I watched the finale, I watched the Bloody 100th documentary.
Oh, yeah. I was gonna watch that.
You should watch it. It's really good, especially after watching Masters of the Air, where we kind of have seen these representations of these people on the screen. Like Rosie is featured a lot in that, and it was really cool to hear the actual Rosie talking about these things that we saw on the show. Like, it was really cool. Crosby's in there too.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check that out.
Yeah,
it's on Apple TV as well.
It is, yeah.
Okay, I think it was gonna, like, it showed me to play it after this.
That's why I saw it. I'm like, I'm gonna watch that tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna check that out. That'll be interesting.
It was really good. I really enjoyed that too. And I picked up Crosby's book, so I've started that one. Yeah, so I'm gonna read that.
Oh, let me know how that is.
Yeah.
I think a lot of this is from his book, isn't it?
Yeah, it's from his book, A Wing and a Prayer, and then also there's a Masters of the Air book, I think, also, which I wasn't able to find yet, but I probably want to read that too.
Yeah. Yeah, I loved it. This show was great. As a whole, what would you give the series?
That's a good question. I would say for some of the weaker episodes, I'd maybe bump it down to a 9, but like, it's still an amazing show. I want to give it a 10, but there were just some weaker episodes that I think maybe bump it to a 9 for me.
Okay.
But I loved it.
As a whole, I loved it too. Like, as a whole, I would probably give it an 8.
Okay. And
just because I do feel like there was weaker episodes towards like the first half of the season.
Yeah. And also, I want to say that I have not yet watched Band of Brothers or The Pacific, so if those are like so much more amazing, I reserve the right to bump this down to an 8. We'll see.
I will say, I think this ending, I feel like this ending is more satisfying.
Okay.
But I think Band of Brothers, that's probably why it skews mine more to an 8.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just think the beginning episodes were a little like weaker, and then the whole with Alex and that crew just randomly popping up in episode 9 for 20 minutes. So there's certain things where that bumped it down for me.
Yeah.
But still, though, 8 out of 10 for me, 9 out of 10 for you. I mean, that's obviously
a great show.
Amazing.
Yeah.
But
sad that it's over.
Yeah, me too.
Yep. But now I get to go watch Band of Brothers. Oh yeah, how did Kara like it?
Oh, she loved it too.
Nice.
She loved the whole show, the ending too, and I'm actually surprised she liked the show so much.
Yeah, I wouldn't have pegged this as a show she would like, so I'm glad she liked it.
I wouldn't have either.
Yeah,
but I guess funny. I guess it's like it wasn't all fighting and war. There's a lot of character development, but still, I didn't peg it for so she'd like either.
Yeah.
But no, she loved it.
Nice.
But yeah, now watch Band of Brothers. It's on HBO Max.
Yep, I'm gonna. I didn't want to watch it yet. I thought about it, but I was like, I want to talk about this first. I don't want to like skew anything, of what I or like get things mixed up. So I'm gonna start watching Band of Brothers tonight.
And who knows? Maybe you'll like Masters of the Air better because it's got what got you into this stuff, like this.
Maybe
these showrunners, but who knows? I don't know. I'm curious to see what you think.
I'll try it. I'll see if I can watch. I'll see if I can watch it all this week, and we can talk about it next week. But we'll see. I don't know if I'll be able to get through it all or not, depending.
If not, I mean, just tell me each week what you watched and how you thought of it. But sweet,
cool. All right,
another win for Apple TV.
Yeah, Apple TV's putting out some solid stuff.
Yeah.
All right, and I can't say that we'll talk about the next episode next week. Oh, sad.
I know.
But we appreciate everyone for watching. These videos have been getting some good views, so
yeah, it's an interesting show, and like just the history behind it, and it's taught me some history. Just learning about these real life, characters.
Crazy events. I feel like the documentary puts it into even more perspective of just like how much of a stranglehold the Nazis had on Europe and how much we fought to get it back. It's crazy.
I know. I need to watch that documentary.
Yeah.
It's only an hour long, isn't it?
It's an hour. And who knows, maybe Kara will like it too if she liked the show.
She might.
Might be a little too dry.
After having the context of like the show, but
yeah,
but cool. This is a good one.
Yeah. All right. So our last one. Let's talk about let's talk about Halo Season 2, Episode 7, Thermopylae. So I'll let you go ahead and give your score first on this one. And then I'll give my score, and we will get into spoilers after that.
Halo. I thought this episode was trash. I did not like it. Like, where's the Pillar of Autumn? What's up with this portal star thing that Quan opens up? I don't even care. That's not a spoiler. It's just dumb. Yeah, this is dumb. This is a dumb, like, for an episode that's trying to build up to finale, it was horrible. No intensity. The only thing I liked about this episode is I did like Ackerson. I liked him a little bit in this episode. I thought he was interesting. And Master Chief finally, kind of getting his suit back. It wasn't good. It's 4 out of 10, below average episode for me.
Okay. I gave this one. I thought this one was kind of similar to the last one, but it seemed kind of unbalanced and weird with the writing. I gave it a 5, just completely average, which for an episode before the season finale, I can totally see why you gave it below average, because it should be building up to something that gets me more excited. But there were some parts of this episode that just meandered to a crazy degree where I have no idea what they're doing with it or why it's even like a thing in this show. It seems
that Quan stuff was garbage. Was like, just tell me right now. Did you like the whole star system? It's not this, it's that.
I did not care about that. Yeah, I don't know why she's important in that.
I was going to get pissed. I swear, I thought it was going to open up a portal to Halo.
I kind of thought that too, yeah.
And I would have turned off the show, dude. I was actually kind of hoping it was so I could rant about it.
Oh, that's funny.
I see what they're setting up with that storyline, though, which we could talk about in spoilers.
Yeah, they are setting up some things. I didn't we'll get to it in the spoilers. I want to like the show, but what they're building up to in the finale, I'm getting worried. So I don't know. It seems to be going further and further from actually being Halo. I'm worried about what they're going to do with the Halo parts. So I did like Ackerson. I did like a few other things in this episode, which is why it balances out to just average. But there's some really silly stuff in this episode.
Yeah. We need to get into spoilers.
Yes, let's get into spoilers. So, spoiler alert for Halo. Season 2, Episode 7, Thermopylae. You've been warned.
Wait, first and foremost, so what, no Pillar of Autumn, or is it randomly going to pop up in the last episode?
I have a feeling there's just not going to be a Pillar of Autumn. Yeah. Or maybe Miranda will get on a ship and they call it the Pillar of Autumn. It may not look like it, but we'll have a Keyes piloting Pillar of Autumn. I don't know.
And they're like trying to set up intensity, but obviously John is going to go help them, isn't he?
Yeah.
Because they kind of show it to where he's like, he could like kind of pick, oh, am I going to just go to the Halo ring or am I going to go help them? Like, well, if you're showing us that right now, you're obviously going to go and help them.
Yeah.
It's dumb. That's like, I'm not excited for the finale, and it's so disappointing because, like, we saw the Halo ring for a split second.
Yeah, we did.
And,
which
like,
was cool to see in live action. But yeah, in a weird situation that doesn't feel like Halo, so.
Like, anyways, what bad things were you thinking of?
Okay.
There's more.
Okay. The craziest thing to me in this episode was not even the Quan thing. It's the Soren parts. Why were there Soren parts in this? We cut to him for like 2 seconds 3 times or something like that. Like, they're setting up this cool Halo part, or what should be a cool Halo part, and we cut to Soren. He's talking to his wife. Cut away. Cut back.
Oh my
He's telling
God.
him about his backstory. Cut away. Cut back. And then he's fighting, and then he just loses his wife and son, and we're back to square one. Like, it just didn't feel necessary.
Oh God, then they're gonna have to continue that next season if there's a season 3, dude.
Yeah.
Not only does he have to find his son, he needs to find his wife.
It's just,
God.
I don't know why that had to be in this episode. Why do we even care about it? I don't know. That just seemed weird. Season? Yeah.
Just have Soren be with the chief, or I don't know, have him be like the Sergeant Johnson or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like
those parts were the parts where I'm like, why is this here? Why is it so? If you're gonna show us it, why are you showing us it in 2-second clips? Like, and they're just in this smoky room. It's not interesting to look at. It's not an interesting story in this storyline. Like, my
question to you too is it odd? So like, all this intense stuff is happening. Like, oh, the Covenant is coming. This is coming. The Halo ring. And they're still like doing these trials with these kids, and people are like acting like nothing's going on the ship. It feels empty. Is that odd to you? Are they hiding it from everybody? I'm confused by that.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like with the kids, I feel like what they're doing is these Spartan 3s that they've created for this mission for Parangoski to basically throw their lives away is like a stopgap in the Spartan program. And they're calling them Spartan 3s, but they're actually making the real Spartan 3s with the kids and training them up better. And like, basically these Spartans are like just emergency. Let's throw them at them, see if we can do some damage. And then they're actually making real Spartan 3s with the kids. That's my theory, but I don't know. It's weird.
You know what I'm saying? Like the base or the ship, wherever they're feels so like they're talking about like the Covenant gets the Halo ring. It's the end of the universe. And like, I feel no intensity.
Yeah.
Like, the base feels empty. They're still doing like some kid trials, right, for the new Spartans or whatever.
Yeah.
Like they're still just lollygagging around.
Yeah, I don't get like
know.
it seems like Master Chief's fine to just run around and get his armor and nobody's stopping him, even though it was like last episode he was a prisoner and rogue, and yeah. It's such a weird tone.
Opening and locking doors, but like, come on.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just rash. And then with Kai, I need to go with. Oh, it's like, okay, you know what? That makes sense. To have Kai go with the fake Spartan 3s, and then that will make Chief. He'll go to the Halo alone with Cortana. That makes sense.
I agree.
But like now, I feel like he's having like a second guessing. Like, oh, I should go help them. And also with Mako is her name, right?
Makee.
Makee Mako. Oh,
Mako's Korra.
Mako, Chacho. I don't care. Oh yeah, I've been watching too much Korra. I'm done. Her story needs to end next episode before a Chief gets on the ring, because
I don't think
I'm telling you this now. I know you're right, but if her story doesn't end, and like if she's on Halo with the Chief, or like they still have a connection when he's on Halo on the ring, that's it, man. That's dumb. That's not right. That's not Halo.
Yeah, I feel like that's what we're heading towards. Like,
no, don't say that.
Well, especially now that she's like an arbiter now, or whatever she did with the branding herself. That's
true. They're building her character too much.
Yeah.
Maybe if there's a season 3, we'll see. Maybe she won't be on Halo Chief, and she'll just be out and about with the arbiter doing stuff.
Yeah, maybe.
But I don't want that, though. I just want Chief on Halo. Don't show me these other stories. We're not getting that. You're right.
Yeah.
One thing.
Yeah. Before, so with the Makee scene, I thought the philosophical talk was kind of interesting about the differences between Makee and John. Whatever. It was fine, but just a small nitpick. From the last episode to this episode, Master Chief was like a bloody pulp of a mess. And then this episode, he looked totally fine. It's just not consistent.
That's a good way to say it. I feel like there's like different people writing every episode, and it's just like
there could have been a scene while they were talking of him like washing himself off in the water, and then it would have made sense, I guess. But
you just want some master cheeks, don't you?
No, not like that. Just wash his face. That's it. That's all I said. I take it back.
How many times have we said that, though? Like, they could have just written one scene where it would make a scene better. Like,
or make more sense.
You've said that so many times where like it seemed to add something or have a line, and then we wouldn't be complaining about something.
Yeah.
If they do a season 3, like it needs to drastically change, because I think people are gonna. I mean, people are already bagging on this, but I think people are falling off hard.
Yeah.
Depending on how this finale does.
I'm worried about the finale, because what they're setting up, the whole like the spike being a bomb to blow up the whole system, seems like they're changing Pillar of Autumn to that, and that's how the way Halo's going to be blown up. So I'm kind of worried that they're going to rush through the Halo part and finish it this season. And
don't say that.
I feel like we need a whole season of him on Halo doing stuff. Like, I'm worried about that. If that happens, I will not be happy.
No,
and
it's not gonna, they can't do that. They can't do that.
I don't know, dude. I don't know. It just seems like they're escalating it and rushing it, and I don't know.
If that happens, that's where I drop off, because no, it's a whole. You need to have a whole season. Keep on Halo. I mean, you have the books. You have the Halo Combat Evolved. Like, I'm not saying follow it directly, but like, come on.
Yeah.
One episode, Caleb. If that happens,
I hope not. I hope not. I'm sorry for putting that energy out into the world, but it's just, I could see after season 1, I don't doubt it. That's the problem.
I mean, you're right. I'm telling you this now, and I'll stand by my words. You as my witness. If they blow up the Halo ring, whatever, it ends in the next episode, I will give that episode a 1 out of 10. Doesn't matter about anything else.
Okay. Okay, so let's talk about the Quan stuff, because there is something in there that I think also kind of sets up that the Halo might not be as important for some things, so they could blow it up. So, so Quan, Miranda, and Halsey are in that weird well thing, looking at that ring, and then Quan suddenly knows, like, they get the like hologram thing up and it's stars. And then Quan knows, oh, we need to move the stars, whatever, blah, blah, annoying.
How do you know? It's like my dreams.
Yeah.
Shut up.
That, I just feel like, I guess they kind of set up that she has something to do with the Forerunners, but it doesn't feel earned. It just doesn't feel earned.
And it's dumb.
Yeah.
This is dumb. The whole star, oh, you just go here and just so it's the social stars chain. It's really, come on, this is.
And you have like two of the smartest people in the UNSC, Miranda and Halsey, and Quan's the one figuring it out. It just seems like
Quan
really?
is the savior. Savior Quan.
Don't.
She helped save Master Chief and them on Reach. Now she's helping Halsey and you know, just like Quan hardly has any lines this season.
Yeah, because everything like she says is annoying.
Like she's just like looking like in the background, like
I know.
Anyway, she opens that stupid door, and then what?
So they go in.
That was gonna be a portal.
Yeah, I thought it was a portal at one point too.
I thought that was the way they were gonna get to Halo. I'm like, no way.
Okay,
but anyways,
and so for some positives, well, I'll say some of my positives of this part. I thought the Forerunner stuff and the light bridge looked really good. Like
that was cool seeing. I agree.
Yeah, I loved seeing that. So they go in, they find this whole Forerunner underground city, whatever it is, and then they get into a lab. And I was not expecting them to find a dead Forerunner in the lab. That was a little weird. But so they find that Forerunner. They get that weird, like, I don't know, it's holding something and they take it, and then for some reason the whole thing starts to shake. There's an earthquake at the worst possible time, I guess. They don't really explain why, but and so they leave.
It's unless it's Forerunner defense or something. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe, but they didn't say that. Like, so my theory for that is a thing where they studied the flood, and whatever was
exactly what
whatever was in her hand has some spores or something, maybe, because at one point Miranda opens it under, like, in a sealed compartment or whatever, and I'm thinking maybe that released some flood spores. So that makes me think that the Halo thing might not have to do with the flood being released, and they do it on Onyx.
And Miranda would
and then Miranda would be the one who takes
instead of keys.
Yeah, her dad's spot. Yep.
Yeah.
And so then that's the flood and not Halo, or both, maybe. I don't know.
Or that would suck. But maybe it was just a base or a laboratory they found that contained it, and that's nothing more. They're just going to learn about the flood, and when Master Chief gets there, then like Miranda will know, like, oh, Chief, that's the flood. I've been studying this.
Possibly, yeah.
Maybe I'm just being too hopeful.
I hope for that too, but yeah, we'll see.
Because if that's the case, then you're right. Then the Halo ring will be completely. I mean, the whole
totally different. Then, then are they just going to make it that it actually is a weapon and not something to, like, keep the flood from taking over the entire galaxy? I don't know, or universe.
I hope not. I don't know. That's a good question. Just give me Chief on it's. We're not asking a lot, Caleb. We're not. Like, are we? That's not too much. Just give me Chief Cortana on the ring and throw in the Covenant, and then have a couple scary episodes of the Flood, and that I'll be happy.
Yeah.
Enough. Happy enough.
Happy enough. Yeah. Yeah.
But instead, we're gonna get Chief on a ring, unless, like you said, unless it's over the next episode. But let's say it's not, and Chief is actually on the ring all season 3. We're gonna get half of the screen time with McKee or whatever her name is, with doing her stuff, and then we're gonna have Quan doing our Forerunner crap, and then we're gonna have Soren and finding his family. Oh Lord.
Yeah. I think so. I think Perez is going to make it, and Kai might have to sacrifice herself to save Perez or something, and then Perez might get to the Halo ring. I just have a feeling Perez isn't going to die yet. I feel like she's connected to the Chief somehow.
I would like that. Look, have a Marine. Go. It would be a little different, right? Because the Marines died on the way down, which I actually saw a funny fact that's. Do you know why they did that?
Why?
Do you remember in Halo Combat Evolved when you crash onto the ring, like the Marines are dead?
Yeah.
Already from the crash. Originally they weren't supposed to be dead, but they couldn't get the coding right to have the Marines be able to walk across that bridge. And so they're like, screw this. And so originally the Marines are supposed to stay alive with you for a little bit.
Gotcha. Oh, that's interesting. Nice little tidbit.
Yeah. Yeah. I just saw that on a YouTube short the other day. But anyway, so like Perez, I wouldn't mind Perez, even although maybe they don't even have her land with Chief and there's separate storylines and they meet up eventually.
Yeah.
I don't know. We're probably wrong because, we're just two idiots talking. But, we could probably write a better show than these idiots.
I'm waiting till the last episode to see how much they screw up to be that harsh. But
it could wait to see how much they screw up.
Yeah,
not if they will.
This all could be totally warranted. I understand. Yeah.
Yeah. We're not waiting to see what if they screw up. It's just how much. A little bit. Well, I'll give it I'm not giving it a benefit of the doubt, but I'll stop ranting. But I'm telling you, man, this finale is bad. Like I'm going. I'm gonna
scorched earth.
I'm gonna have a rant. This is gonna be a worse rant than Loki.
Okay,
Loki, at least.
I'll prepare
Loki
myself.
I didn't like, but my lord, at least it doesn't spit in your face like this show does.
And at least this ended solidly. We'll see how this one does.
Loki is like a 10 out of 10 compared to these last couple episodes. In the first season of Halo at that.
Okay, so I do want to say a few other things that I liked about this episode, because I think there were some good parts. And yeah, you did call it out. Ackerson was really good this episode. And I think even Parangoski, despite the fact that her plan is weird and totally different from Halo, like, she's still an interesting character because she is like cold-blooded throwing these Spartan threes at them.
But you're supposed to.
Yeah. And I thought it was really interesting how much, like, I thought Ackerson was cold-blooded too for how he handled Reach, but him seeing how much worse Parangoski was and it like giving him an existential crisis was a really interesting thing to see. And then his scenes with Chief were also really good, where Kai, my favorite line of this episode was Kai was like, "We need his face to get into the room," and then Chief just like slowly turns and he's like, on him. Just seeing Ackerson react to that was really funny. But yeah, I liked
think Ackerson was even less cold-blooded than Halsey.
Yeah, he definitely has more of a conscience, it seems like, which we see in this episode.
I almost think Halsey is worse than Parangoski. I think Halsey is worse in the sense of I truly don't think it's science over anything, over her own daughter.
Yeah, it's like
the first thing,
big picture.
First
only.
thing she asked, "Did you get it?" Not "You're okay." Remember when they ran across the bridge and she's like, "Did you get it?"
Yeah, please tell me you got it. Yeah,
yeah. I think Halsey is the most cold-blooded in the sense of kind of insane.
Yeah, she is. I mean, she did abduct kids and then replace them with people who would die. She's always been kind of messed up like that, so that does make sense.
Right. Ackerson floats the line because I feel like he truly does have a conscience. Now, maybe with the Spartan 3s, it is more of his life work he cares about, but I do think he has I mean, they showed that the scenes with his father, and even saying how he doesn't want this, but he's just doing what has to be done. So I feel like he's more interesting character.
Yeah, I agree. I've liked his character this entire season.
Mm-hmm. What other positives? Ackerson, the flood stuff can be interesting depending where they go with it.
Yep, that's true. We got to see the priest elite again, and then he got killed. That was
that's right.
Interesting, but then it was kind of ruined. I still don't get like McKee branding herself with the Arbiter symbol, and then the Arbiter being like, "Okay, we're bonded to each other." Like, what does that mean? That's not really.
Oh, such a flip from I don't know, and it wasn't earned. Like from last episode to this episode, the same fight was happening almost.
Yeah.
So why all of a sudden? I don't know. And you know what else? This is just a nitpick, but not really. How has there not been a single grunt in this whole season?
Oh, true. What? Yeah.
We have not seen one grunt.
Yeah, we've just seen Jackals, a brute, and elites.
No grunts, dude. We have not seen any hilarious grunts. They could have been like the funny, the lighthearted part of the show.
Weird. I didn't even notice that, but you're right. Huh.
Like, could you imagine grunts like with Chief? How hilarious it'd be in live action.
I mean, it's funny in the game. Yeah, I'd love to see that.
Yeah. But no, there's no grunts in the show. I thought, or was there in season 1?
I'm trying to remember. I think there might have been in some of the big battles, but we didn't get any of their like funny one-liners that I can remember.
Yeah, can you believe that? No grunts in this whole season, let alone in the show for the most part.
Yeah, weird. They're literally called grunts because there's so many of them. Like, it's just, I don't know. Weird.
Like, I was thinking about that the other day. Like, it would have been funny to have like those little lighthearted moments of Chief just like, taking down these grunts. I don't know.
And them screaming, like, demon!
Yeah. But no, we got nothing. No grunts.
Weird.
But anywho, we'll see. The finale is what days is it there? Thursday?
Yeah, I think so. I agree with you that the next episode will make or break the season, and possibly, I don't know if it'll make, it's just a possibility to break the season, or possibly the show overall.
Basically, it's either going to be a 5 out of 10 or a 2 out of 10.
Yeah.
Or a 6 out of 10, maybe, if it's like a, oh my god, finale.
Yeah, maybe.
The first half of the season, I didn't mind. Episodes 1, 2, and 3, and then obviously the Fall of Reach episode. The Fall of Reach episode was amazing.
Yeah, since that episode, though, it's been going down.
It's been downhill. Downhill. Well, it's been a descent to hell. The first few episodes were decent. Like, were really decent. And then the Reach, like, I'm telling you, 3 weeks ago, after the Reach episode, I'm like, my god. Wow, the first few episodes were average. This episode was amazing. God, it's relative to the first season, this is great.
Yeah.
And then I still don't think it's not as low as the first season still. It's not.
Hopefully it doesn't get to it, yeah.
But we are getting to the point where even if it isn't as low as the first season, if they start changing too big of things, like the ring, then it doesn't matter how much better quality it is. You can only deviate so much.
Yeah.
You can't mess up the ring, and they are going to, like you said.
We'll see.
Anyways, we'll see in a few days. So,
yep.
Hopefully next week we're talking positive about it.
I hope so. We'll see.
All right, that's all I got.
Yeah, well, we'll talk to you next week, and we'll see if this show's worth watching still.
I know. Maybe we should have ended on a Masters of the Air. The bigger views.
Well, let's end on Korra. Let's talk about Korra a little bit, because you watched season 2, right?
Yep. So I finished season 2 or book 2, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. And I'm actually halfway done with book 3.
Halfway done? Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
So book 2. So I told you book 1. I liked book 1. I thought it was solid. We had talked about that. The villain was awesome.
Yeah.
Book 2, like I kind of texted you, was such a weird scene. I still don't know how to feel about the season. I don't think I liked it.
Yeah. I think that's a pretty good summation of season 2. Not sure how to feel, but not sure you liked it. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's how I felt.
One thing I know for sure is the villain was the weakest villain in the whole series.
In all of Avatar series, yeah.
Yes, in all of Avatar series, not just this show so far. I think the motives were lame, very one-dimensional. They didn't even try to trick us to make him think he's some good guy or something. It's one-dimensional, like, I'm getting the spirit because I want to be... He even called himself the Dark Avatar.
Yeah, he did. That's right.
So, like, the villain was garbage.
Yeah.
Other thing I did not like is it was very unfocused. They could have just focused on the civil war between the North and the South, the Northern and Southern tribe.
Yeah.
And they didn't really focus on that at all. I mean, they did, but like not really.
Bit. Yeah.
So I thought that was weak. The couple episodes I did really like were the episodes with the original Avatar. I thought the art style was pretty cool.
Yeah, I do remember liking those episodes.
And I liked the history of it. Although I have read some said that it kind of like the spirit, I don't know, and I kind of agree to a sense that the spirit world in this show kind of killed the mystic sense, like the kind of like the force, mystery. You know, the mystery, like the mystery and the mysticness of it. Like it kind of, the season kind of killed that.
They added in midichlorians.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good comparison, actually. Like before, like the Avatar state and the spirit world is like very mystic and weird and disconnected, and this season kind of built that in the sense of like it's just a portal to another world. Like it's nothing special about it if you can get there.
Yeah. One thing I remember not liking was how they like severed the connection to all the past avatars. That was weird to me.
Yes.
And
it felt unnecessary.
Yeah. Like, and that's such a big part of the Avatar. So
yeah, huge. And so, I mean, I don't know if she ever gets it back, but so far she doesn't have it back. And I don't know. It was just weird. Like the first half of the season, I felt like it didn't know what it wanted to do. They had like the trial and and like I said, the Northern and Southern tribe, and then it turned into, just open up this portal for me. You can do it. And then the second half of the season just totally shifted. Once it hit those flashbacks, like Korra was in like that pool of water, like getting the memories of the original Avatar, which again, I liked that part.
Yeah, I liked
but after that, it was just like the season. I don't know how to try to talk about it. It's just such a weird season. Like, the kaiju fight, pretty much Godzilla fight right there.
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up. That, like, I feel like that was supposed to be bigger and better, but it just kind of fell flat for me. I barely remember that fight, honestly.
It was not a good fight, and it felt unnecessary. Why couldn't they just have her beat him in the normal Avatar versus Dark Avatar state? Why did it have to be some... I guess they're trying to show, like, she's getting her own soul, your own spirit.
Yeah, I guess so.
I don't know. It fell flat for me.
Yeah.
I did read that the horror was only supposed to be one book.
Oh, I wonder if that's why this one was
originally rougher. I read into it because then this ended kind of like the kind of ended like open-ended, right? Like, oh, spirit world's open.
Yeah.
But anyway, so it was really supposed to be one book. So it's supposed to be just the first book with that villain. Oh God, I am terrible. Am I getting old? I'm terrible. Amon. Yeah, it was supposed to be just that one season with Amon. I thought season 1 was solid. Like, I like season 1.
Yeah.
And then they renewed it for this season. And then, like, that was it. They were just going to do this season.
Oh,
and then it got renewed for after that. So they only read it for one season at a time. And then after season 2, they renewed it for 2 seasons. So that's why people are saying the last 2 seasons are better because they actually got to plan it.
Yeah, I remember having to wait and not being sure if Korra was going to keep going. I do remember that now that you mention it. Yeah.
Yeah. So apparently, like when they're writing this season 2, it's like they didn't have any time to write it. So there's writing as they came. And they thought it would last. And it does show because it's so just out of the first season and all of the the last Airbender show, like this one feels like the black sheep season.
Yeah, it's definitely the weirdest and weakest.
Yeah, I don't know. And then the characters, like I personally don't care for the twins, the ice twins that
Aubrey
Boren, his name?
Aubrey Plaza, Bolin. Yeah, his
Yeah,
girlfriend.
Bolin. Of course, that's Aubrey Plaza. Yeah, Bolin. I didn't care for them really, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I think that's in the fault of like, just like I obviously didn't care for their father either, so I just didn't care about that side because they didn't. It was just one dimensional. Like I said,
Yeah, it was.
They were a little more less one dimensional than their father, but like until the very last to end, they were just like, "I'll do anything for my father. My father's right." Like, my father says, until they saw him as like a big beast, they're like, "Oh, okay." So I didn't care for them. I mean, and I hated Bolin's storyline of being a movie star and all that. That's another thing. The movie star storyline and like Mako stuff with the pleas, it all felt pointless. Yeah. I think they even said in season 3 or book 3 at the beginning, "Oh, we're finally feeling like a team again." Like it's almost like they're acknowledging like season 2 was like so discombobbled.
Yeah, that's funny. That's a funny line.
What did you think? Like, how do you feel? I know some people are complaining like the dark versus light. It's like it's too storybook, good versus evil. They kind of killed the myth. Like, what do you think of all the spirit stuff and the story of the Avatar and how the first Avatar came to be and this whole season?
I'm pretty much similar to you. Like, I did like learning about Avatar Quan and how that started. I think that was his name. Mm-hmm. But yeah, just the villain was boring. I remember not liking this season very much. And then they took the Avatar state away from Korra, and that was weird. And I'm very glad I kept on because season 3, book 3 and book 4 are really good. But yeah, I did not have much hope after book 2.
Oh, I'm sure.
Which I think there was a pretty big break between book 2 and 3. And I'm kind of glad there was because I feel like it almost washed it out of my mind how much I didn't care about book 2. Yeah, and honestly, I remember it the least out of any of the Korra seasons or Avatar seasons in general.
Yeah, that's because it was it's just so discombobbled
and not memorable. Like even the last fight was supposed to be so cool, big, but it just
like end of the universe, stakes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But so starting book 3, I was very curious, like where do they go from here? Because they left it open, right? Oh, I'm gonna leave the spirit world open. Spirits are gonna live among us. We already had like an end of the universe type of season. So like, what are they gonna do? Like, what can you do after that, right? Like, you just had a whole season about darkness escaping and ending the universe.
Yeah,
and darkness. Like,
I forget how book 3 starts.
So far book 3 definitely feels the most well written, contained, and I can tell from what I said how they had time. But it starts off with basically cleaning up Republic City.
Okay.
And then finding out that Boomy has airbending powers and all these airbenders are kind of popping up around.
That's right.
The kind of the world. And then you have the villains, which I don't know too much about yet, but so far their scenes are really cool. Yeah. All I know is when Korra was little, they came to assassinate Korra, and this is what they were telling her, like Korra, and they still don't know why. Like they tried to do that. They imprisoned the 4. I don't remember the villains' names. I don't remember their names. There's 4 of them.
I think one's Zahir. I forget the other one.
Zahir. Zahir's the one where he has the airbending now, and he breaks out, and then he breaks out the other 3.
Yeah.
And they were imprisoned because they tried to assassinate Korra when she was little. Hence why they alienated Korra when she was little.
Okay, yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah, that's coming
And I
back
like
to me
that
now.
explanation.
Yeah.
But it's, like the first 6 episodes, like the scenes with those 4 villains are awesome. Like, and I will say the airbending, like the action in the season, like I don't know what they did, but they stepped up compared to the first 2 seasons.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
Like
the last 2 seasons are amazing in animation.
Like I watched one airbending season, episode. This was 4. They were like, I think they're still in the north or something. It was in ice, and they're fighting all 4 of them, and it was Bolin and Mako, and just seeing them fight together, like Bolin was shooting Mako up in the air, and that Bolin,
Yeah.
they're actually, like, I feel like earthbending is, they do the least justice, and in this season, like, the earthbending has been awesome.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think even the
I'm
live action did earthbending better.
Yeah, I agree. But do you agree with me? Like, out of all 4 elements, I feel like the earthbending is the one, like, the hardest to do, or the ones they, like, don't use the most.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It's probably the most underrated, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And that's the way Bolin this season has almost become my favorite character, when I did not like him in season 2, or his storyline, at least in season 2.
He gets a lot better. Yeah, that's for sure.
And I'm at the scene where they're at what's Toph's daughter's name? The chief.
Chief Beifong, her name.
Yeah, I'm at she's with her sister, because there's an airbender there.
Lynn.
Bolin wants to learn metal bending. Lynn, there you go. Bolin wants to learn metal bending, and the episode I just ended on, Zahir finding out that they're at that place. I'm like, oh, okay, that's gonna be cool.
Nice.
But yeah, that metal and earth bending between those 2 sisters, well, that was an awesome scene too. I don't know if you remember that.
Vaguely. I might just start watching at book 3, because I like those so much more than 2.
Yeah, the action is like, it's I don't know what it is, what they did, but the action in season 3 is like miles ahead of the first 2 seasons.
Yeah.
And specifically the earth bending, like that scene with Bolin and Mako fighting the Zahir and them. That's so cool, the way they're using the earth bending.
Yeah.
But yeah, so far loving season 3. See, again, season 2. If I had to rate season 2, it's so weird. I don't know. I don't think I'd probably give it I don't know, 4 or 5 maybe.
Yeah, I'd probably give it a 4.
I just don't know how I feel about how they handled the spirit world. I kind of, like you said, kind of the midichlorians, and it ruined the mysticness of it, the mystery, the intrigue.
Yeah.
But then again, it's kind of cool that they're living together. I don't know. I'll say 4 out of 10.
I will say season 3 and season 4 are why I've always told you to watch Korra. Like, so yeah, I'm really glad you're finally watching it.
Yeah, and I could tell season 3 is, I think on episode 5 or 6 on season 3. I think it's 12.
Okay.
Episodes. And I'm telling, and I love how we're exploring more regions too, because season 1 was just Republic City.
Yeah.
Which was fine, because it was kind of cool, different. And then season 2 was just the northern and southern tribe and Republic City. I don't think they went anywhere else.
Yeah, I don't remember.
And then the Air Island or whatever, the island that they were at. But now season 3, they're like exploring different places and recruiting airbenders, and you're seeing like that Earth Kingdom was really interesting to see. It was kind of reminded me of Attack on Titans. They had like inner layers, and the closer we got in, it was like the kingdom, and then the outer layers were like trash.
Yep, I remember that.
So that was interesting, and seeing Bolin and Mako's family. I just like seeing the different regions, and the villains are interesting, and I want to know why they tried to kill Korra or take Korra or something with Korra. Like, I'm intrigued.
Yeah, the villains are really good. They're definitely, I think they're the highlights of all of Korra.
All of Korra, yeah. I don't. Amen was a pretty cool villain too. I liked him.
He was. I don't,
because I liked.
I think I would put him below one particular villain in book 3 and 4. Well, but yeah, I won't.
Yeah, I'll have to. I'll let you know when I'm done. But what I liked about Amon is I think the idea of taking away bending would be terrifying.
Yeah, that's true.
Which I was kind of upset that like Korra could repair bending, because I'm like, oh, like it would have been a cool like permanent thing that some of the characters lost.
Yeah, but it does make sense because Aang could do it basically. So yeah,
and she didn't like repair everyone's power.
That's true.
The one you cared about.
Yeah,
I just liked. I don't know. For me, like I was thinking if I was a bender, like Amon would be terrified.
Yeah, that's true. He would.
But anywho, yeah, I'm glad I'll tell you this. Like when I was, because I'm watching it with my kids, and this was the season I was least into so far. Like for sure, like not even a question.
Yeah, I agree.
Like I was watching this season, and I was sometimes a little bored, especially with Bolin's storyline and Mako's storyline of being in Republic City and being famous and stuff.
Yeah.
I was just, I don't know. But season 3, like now we're watching season 3 with my kids. We watch like an episode or 2 a night. And like I'm into it. I'm like, oh, like I want to watch it after they go to bed, but I'm
yeah, they would probably be pretty upset about that.
Yeah, oh yeah. And Avia, she would know. I mean, she's gonna be 5, so she knows things now.
Yeah, you can't sneak it by her now.
Like we haven't watched. We already watched this one, or this isn't where we were at. She tells me.
Nice,
smart dude.
Yeah, they are.
The Disney Plus app. She's like, or stuff. She's like, where? I asked her like, where do we watch Korra? She's like, on Netflix.
Dang.
She's like, these kids, man. But anyways, it's I'm liking season 3 a lot more. I mean, it's, again, to me, it's still nowhere near The Last Airbender.
Sure, yeah.
I don't know how much of that is nostalgic and how much of it is like true.
Last Airbender is just so good. It's so hard to like reach those levels.
And I still think the characters in Last Airbender and the character dynamics, like with Aang and Zuko and even
like Toph and Sokka, yeah, like they're all so good.
Yeah. They all play well off each other. They all have their own little relationships. And this one, I like Bolin. Mako,
Yeah.
What's her name? I don't even remember her name.
Asami.
Asami, like, at least so far. I'm not saying I hate them. It's just like,
Yeah. And compared to the Last Airbender crew, it's not the same.
I would say probably Bolin is probably the most, like, feels like the most like a Last Airbender type character.
Yeah, I agree. I think I agree.
I could have seen him like Sokka getting along.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, and another thing, one last thing that I couldn't stand was the whole. They kept doing this triangle thing with Korra, Mako, and Asami. It's like,
yep.
Korra's like, Korra was kind of like annoying at the beginning of the season, at least, where she was kind of like bratty and mean to Mako for like no reason.
Yeah, I do remember that.
And then they broke up, and then she lost her memory, and it was so pointless. It's so like she lost her memory, and then he goes and gets kind of back with Asami for a little bit, and then when she gets back, she lost her memory, so she doesn't remember they broke up, and then she's like, oh, no, we could be together, and she gets her memory back. Like, what was the point of that if you're just going to get that memory back anyways? But,
yeah, I never really cared about any of that. I just want to see cool fight scenes, and they keep bringing that stuff up.
I know, and it's not even like, me, I'm like I say all the time, I'm a sucker for romance, but that's not good romance.
Yeah, it's not a good romance.
Oh, they even say at the end of the season, or at the beginning of season 3, or the last episode of season 2, like, we can't beat around the bush. We're terrible together. They literally say we're awful together.
Yeah.
Like, like we are not compatible. It's like, oh, you think?
Yeah, we know.
Yeah. So but all that being said, like I said, I liked the spirits were kind of interesting. The origin of Avatar was interesting.
Yeah.
If I don't think about it too much, like I kind of liked the mystery of being the Avatar.
Sure.
But then again, it is still kind of interesting knowing how it all started.
Yeah, it is.
So it's like a give or take, a good thing, bad thing, whatever you want to say. But still enjoying it. I still enjoyed it, like in bits and pieces. But season 3 is an improvement, and actually, I can't wait to watch it here when we're done with this podcast.
Nice, yeah. I might go do that too.
You should. Yeah, that's kind of all my thoughts on this season.
All right. And just real quick before we end, what chapter are you on Final Fantasy VII Rebirth?
I am on chapter 8.
Oh, dang, you're catching up to me. I'm on 9.
Oh, really? Okay. I slowed down a little bit this weekend.
Okay.
I played a lot last week because my work week was slow. But yeah,
Nice.
I'm still loving it.
Yeah, me too. It's been great.
I think I'm 25 hours in or 30 hours in.
I haven't checked what I'm at.
I think the last time I checked, I was like 25 or 26 hours. And I just started chapter 8. So like,
okay.
The one thing I will say, and I don't know if this will change because I never played original, but I am not a big fan of Yuffie. Her character, not necessarily playable character, but just her character in general.
That's interesting. I actually like Yuffie more in this than in the original.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know, to me, she's just kind of annoying.
Yeah, she's kind of annoying in the original too. So I guess
that's how she's supposed to be.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it's just because she's my favorite to fight as. Like, I love her fighting style, so maybe I'm liking her more because of that.
Maybe. And I actually haven't played as her yet, so
she's so much fun.
Just as like cutscenes, I don't hate her. It's just like, I don't know. I wasn't a huge fan of her at first, at least.
I feel like, I will say, yeah, you'll either love her. I feel like people will either love her or hate her. Like,
yeah, and so far I'm not liking her. It's funny. So after you text me to say get all the Queen's Blood cards, so I got all the cards, and I got chapter 5 on the boat. Man, I smoked through all of them. Although freaking Red, bro, I was so mad at him.
I know. I found it funny how he looked when he was walking up, but I was also like,
hilarious.
Oh man, I have to do another one of these stupid things. I don't have any cards.
I wanted to slap Red. I'm like, dude, really, bro? You're gonna make me do this? You're supposed to be on my side.
Yeah.
And you're like doing this to me, man. And he was the hardest one.
Yeah. Yeah, that was rough because I didn't pick up any cards, and then I got there, and I was like, "Oh man, I have to use the basic character cards." And it was a little annoying.
Them all except for Red. Red took me a couple tries.
Okay, nice.
But
I do like Queen's Blood though. Yeah, I'm glad I told you to buy all the cards.
I saw some people. Well, some people just don't like card games and games.
Yeah,
which I usually don't either, to be honest. But I actually like Queen's Blood too. It's simple enough and it's quick enough to where like I don't mind playing. Now I don't like necessarily playing 5 in a row like on the boat.
Yeah.
And then I did like the little mini game with it on the beach. Like it was kind of a quicker version of it.
Yeah, I really liked those.
It's like there's only one way to beat it, right? So you just got to figure out that one way.
Yeah, true. They were fun little puzzles, though. I think that was probably some of my favorite mini games at Costa del Sol.
Yeah, I know. So I obviously I just played through Costa del Sol a few days ago, and so what I like about this game, it's like an advantage and a disadvantage. So what I like about this game is, unlike Final Fantasy 16, what takes itself so seriously all the time.
Yeah,
this one knows how to like have a little fun.
Yeah, it does good at that. That's true.
It feels brighter. Like you have your serious dark moments, but then like you're on a beach date with Aerith. You know, like,
yeah, and it breaks up the monotony pretty well too. Like it doesn't, it does a good job of like you have this open area, you can do a bunch of stuff, and then you go do some fun stuff, and then you can go back to the open area, and yeah, it's a good.
and then, like,
good way
then
to
you
break
get to
it
the
up.
linear like story beats, and I almost feel like it's like a reward because I'm like OCD, and I have to do all the open worlds. I have to get
Yeah,
those little yellow dots filled
yeah,
up,
me
dude.
too.
Like after I get it filled up and I go to like the linear story part, it's like a reward. Like, oh yay, like in the
Yeah,
story part.
that's a good way to put it. Yeah,
Like, and not even in a bad way, because like I enjoy the open world stuff, and that's my biggest takeaway from this is what I would picture. Like, if I were to have played Final Fantasy when I was a kid, or any game, like, could you imagine if we played this as like a 8, 9, 10 year old?
oh man,
Could you imagine in 20 years us going back to this game and being nostalgic on some of the spots and scenes and moments?
it's really cool having these like Costa del Sol is one example of like I played it as a kid, but now seeing it
Mm,
looking this amazing is so cool. Yeah,
yeah,
it's awesome.
I don't know. I feel like this game is gonna like, or I don't know, like people that are kids that are playing right now that are 8 or 9, 10 years old. This is the first Final Fantasy they played. I feel like in 15, 20 years they're gonna replay this game and it's gonna be like, oh wow, I remember this part, or oh we're on the
Yeah,
beach, I remember this part, or like there's so many like little, like even when I'm playing in the open world, like I'll kind of like stop and like admire some scenery, and I'm like, oh that's cool.
yeah, it looks so good. Yeah, I'm jealous of
Yeah,
those
like
kids, but I guess I'm gonna be doing it too in 15 years,
yeah,
probably.
that's true. Like I don't know. There's just like I feel like iconic is a good like iconic moments and like locations where I know, and when I replay this game in so many years, I'm like, oh yeah,
Yeah,
like this part's cool, and they're all so distinct and different. Kind of like you mentioned how like I'm thinking about Final Fantasy VII Remake. Like after playing this, that game feels so claustrophobic,
it does. Yeah, and like,
which maybe it's supposed to feel that way, but
yeah, and all the environments are pretty similar, and yeah,
yeah.
this just feels like such an upgrade. Even though the other one wasn't bad necessarily, like it was good
No,
still,
not at
but
all. I
this is
enjoyed it.
just
Although I
an
will
upgrade.
say, I don't know if I'll ever play it again. This will probably be the one I'll go back to play.
Yeah,
Unless I'm like in 20 years, I'm like on a Final Fantasy spree and I want to, you know,
true.
complete it
Could
full.
be. Yeah.
But no, I'm enjoying it, man. I'm enjoying it a lot. And yeah, I mean, I got to beat it before Dragon's Dogma, but I don't know if it's going to be by Friday.
Oh yeah, true.
So, but I'm gonna wait anyways to see how the reviews are. I'm kind of scarred pre-ordering games.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
I get why you pre-ordered this one because we knew this one was going to be
I
fine. It's
was
not
gonna play this one no matter what. Yeah.
yeah, Dragon's Dogma, I will definitely play, but I want to see if there's going to be some little nooks and crannies they need to update first.
Yeah.
Uh, plus, like I need to beat this, but
Yeah,
when I
true.
beat this game, I'm definitely going to get that game. So probably, I mean, I don't know how much. I'm assuming I mean, we're only halfway, or I'm only halfway done. I don't know how long.
Yeah, I
I don't
wonder
know
if
how
the
long.
last few chapters are longer or shorter.
Yeah, but anyway, I got to beat this. Then it's Dragon's Dogma, which I'm so excited for that
Yeah, me
too.
too. I'm excited to try that out.
But that's gonna be another one where like we're gonna sink time into. So like I can't
Yeah,
play this and that.
for sure.
But yeah, that's pretty much all I got.
Yeah, me too, I think. All right. Well,
Sweet.
thanks everyone for joining us, and we will talk to you next week.
Peace.